Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to today's preemptive strike topic, I suppose.
Wait, hold on. I'm still a lolly, aren't I? I thought you were going to change me to communist dev.
I was thinking of it. You should change yourself out of lolly, Dev. The gag is over now, Dev. Damn it.
Nope, the gag continues. Well, hold on. Don't you have your own version of me anyway you can just put in?
I do. I could put in communist Dev. That would work as well.
Yep.
It might be, maybe do that, since we're talking about the serious stuff today. So, there is a lot to potentially go into here. With the real backdrop of it being the, I don't know if we can call it the upcoming fracture on the right, or the already having occurred fracture, honestly.
It's starting. Well, it depends on exactly what we're talking about here. So, the title is The Right's Rising Desire to Become the Left 2.0. So, there's several different levels of this conversation, because there's more surface level stuff like the Goonergate thing, which is happening with, Smash JT and V and Madam Savvy and Melanie Mack and all these people who are, nominally right-wing figures, because they all, for various reasons, but now they're infighting over something that's cultural, like, how attractive should attractive women be in video games? And that's like a surface level conversation. It's a fun one, but it is surface level. And the deeper conversation is something like James Lindsay feuding with Academic Agent and Sargon and people like that over the woke right. And these are the same fight is playing out, but these are multiple different levels of it. And it's basically like, it's almost like it's a battle over the soul of the right wing.
Well, over the soul of it. See, there's one thing, right? The soul of the right wing. We've been struggling with this since the beginning of Gamergate, really, and probably will continue to struggle with it for quite some time. What is the right wing at this point? Because we're not truly the conservatives anymore. Not really, anyways. Nor are we the old Christian religious right. Not all of us, anyways. Nor can we truly call ourselves centrists either. And I think the label of centrist as well is kind of a useless one. It's one of those that I quite enjoyed for a very long time, but as the Overton window continues to move further and further left, you in essence become reduced to nothing more than a ratchet for the left, never actually rolling anything back, only obediently halting the tide for a brief moment until the next momentum. So I guess you could argue that this is then the argument over what the right should be.
Well, which of these conversations do you want to tackle first? Because it's not just Goonergate, and it's not just James Lindsay and the woke right. There are other instances where this has been happening. I think I covered one of them on a video a couple days ago. Let me just quickly see here if I can jog my memory. Yeah, the wife jack thing, where it was
yes.
Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate versus, based wife enjoyers. As strange as it sounds, like having a wife and kids is no longer considered to be traditional among some parts of the right wing. So, yeah, this conversation is happening in a whole bunch of different smaller domains in the internet, a whole bunch of different subcultures. But I think the core of it really is James Lindsay's woke right thing, because that gets down to the philosophy of it. So I guess the question is like, what is the right wing? What is it actually? Because
service guarantees citizenship.
When you think about what is the right wing when you think about it? Because you have like family values. Okay, that seems to be a pretty common right wing thing. Leftists certainly aren't pro family values. They don't have kids. They don't really care about kids. They care about having very hedonistic sexual activities that don't generate children. So like they're not really pro-family values. So, okay, that means that the right's probably pro-family values. But then you see people like Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate, who are very much on the right, and they're very much not pro-family values. In fact, a lot of their anti-family values stuff comes from what honestly seems to be a legitimate hatred of women, and not like in a memeing sense, in an actual they fucking hate them sense, and this desire for like an ascendant masculinity to just dominate over females, which is base, by the way, obviously, but that was a joke. Don't string me up, chat. But basically, like when you look at Wife Jack, the conversation is between two different factions of the right. One of them is, I love my wife, I love my children, I love having a family, I like this very sort of normal lifestyle, and it is a right-wing lifestyle. And the alternate is what I would say like a legitimately toxic masculinity that simply wants to dominate women. But they're both right-wing. It's like, well, now they're infighting, and which of them gets to lead the right? Well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But that's like one conversation among many that are happening right now.
God. Okay, so to try and structure this, let's see, because the thing is, I don't think anyone has answers yet. I certainly don't have an answer good enough for all of this. I do have a lot of questions, and from questions, perhaps we will at one point arrive at answers. Because we are not only merely trying to define the right anymore either, we also need to deal with the fact that the right is in ascendance as a cultural hegemon, which brings with it temptations to utilize power. So it is also how that power is to be utilized, and what tactics and strategies are legitimate. How much of the left's playbook are we allowed, quote-unquote, to copy? How much of the left can we take on board? Like, this is another conversation again, which defines what is the right. How much can you forgive the left? How far is too far, and how far is far enough to defeat the worst elements of the left, without doing what the left did and alienating half of the population? And then you have the woke right as well, where you then have to delineate what is actually the acceptable right wing, and when do we start wandering into the Richard Spencer territory, I guess.
Yeah, that's all true. I will notice, though, I mean, you're using...
Service guarantees citizenship.
We, when you talk about this conversation, I wouldn't do that because I don't view myself as on the right. Do you view yourself as being on the right in some
You're a
broad sense?
right-winger, Dev.
Oh, really? Hold
Yes.
on. You've been saying I'm a communist this whole time. I'm right-winger now?
Yeah, communist right-wing.
I'm a communist right-winger?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what do you actually mean, though? Like, do you feel as if you're on the right somehow?
Well, right now, the only real relevant dividing factor is right or left. There is no centrist. The only thing centrist does is slow down the left. Like, this is very much so the Cthulhu swims leftward thing that we have seen now for a very, very long time, and what we are also seeing in established politics. Best example recently was Britain, where people voted overwhelmingly for the Tories, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they achieved absolutely nothing. In fact, if anything, they only grew more progressive. This has become, this is the reason why Trump has risen to such prominence, because there are no alternatives that will roll back leftism instead of merely slow it down until the next wave comes in. At this point, if you are in opposition to progressivism,
Service guarantees citizenship.
you're right wing.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. And I am in opposition to progressivism, so in that sense, I am right wing. But the actual right wingers don't view it that way, right? Like, there's lots of well, hold on though, because there's lots of right wing people in the chat right now who are saying that Dev's a leftist, Dev's a lib, Dev's a blah, 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 and it's like, well, they don't view me that way, obviously.
Well, that's the thing. What is the right? That is the very thing that we have been struggling to redefine now for a very long time, because the generalization of if you are in opposition to this thing, you are on this side, was a useful tool for quite a while, because it allows you to throw a wide net to oppose your ideological opposition. This was also what happened during Gamergate, in essence, where a lot of people with, it turned out later, wildly different worldviews came together for a period and then began fracturing again. It has been a worthwhile tool. But now that we are in the ascendancy, it is becoming less and less of a worthwhile tool. The same happened to the left as well, where initially they were like, okay, well, we oppose conservative Christianity. We're all going to join together. Then they got a hold of power, and they started looking around like, wow, there's a lot of Marxists, Tanksists, Maoists, anarchists, etc., etc.
Yeah, so there is this sort of like temporary factionism that happens all the time. I mean, all you have to do is go back to like 2019 and you will see like center left types, liberal types aligning with, as you say, more hardline anarchists and communists. But then after Biden got elected, the whole thing kind of fell apart, and now you see a lot of liberals who are kind of turning on the progressives and turning on the communists and saying, you guys are fucking ridiculous. And that turn, I mean, I've brought it up several times now, but that turn, I think, fully began after the October 7th terrorist attack in Israel last year, because you saw a lot of people who are not at all revolutionaries. You know, these are like your basic tax and spend Democrat. They just want some health care or something, and then they see these insane people who are cheering on, you know, the slaughter of Israeli civilians on October 7th, and they're like, who the fuck did I get in bed with a couple years ago? This is insane, these people. And so that group began to fracture along various ideological lines. And yeah, now the same thing's happening right now to the right. And like you said, it did happen in Gamergate as well. I mean, if you're listening right now, chat, and you remember what it was like during Gamergate back in 2014, you should recall there were a bunch of like disaffected liberal types who were basically getting run roughshod over by progressives with their megaphones, and then turning to guys like Milo or Cernovich. All right, these guys are in no way liberal, and in fact, they were in fact quite right wing, and they proved themselves to be quite right wing, because after they basically used Gamergate to build a brand, and then they kind of launched off from Gamergate and moved into more conventional political commentary, because they didn't really care about Gamergate, or they didn't care about gamers or gaming. They kind of just used it temporarily. They were actually just kind of tourists in that space. And I think you're probably seeing the same thing right now with the whole Gamergate 2 stuff. You know, Arch, I know that like you and I have both been on these various podcasts talking about this Gamergate 2 thing for like 9 months now, and you see the exact same effects where you have like
Heresy's
people who are, let's say,
fire is
apolitical,
the answer.
people who are maybe kind of center left and centrists, and then you have people who are more right wing, and they're all coming together to oppose woke nonsense in video games. But now that Trump's been elected and things are kind of dying down, a lot of those more hardline right wing figures are turning their backs on the on their new centrist allies, and they're kind of burning those bridges and saying, well, you know what, we don't really need these anymore. And that is what that's the whole Goonergate thing.
Well, Goonergate, yes, but it also has to do with whether or not one actually believes what one is saying, or if one is saying it simply because it is popular. There are quite a few examples of this as well, where the Trump assassination thingy was a large portion around that, where you had a lot of people that made that was the worst thing ever. We've got to be very serious about this. And then the recent executive was assassinated, and they had a lot of fun with that exact same thing.
Fire is the answer.
Yep. And like, there's multiple examples of this sort of thing. I mean, you had right wingers, like the assassination attempt, and then the death of the firefighter. There were right wingers who treated this with the utmost seriousness, as it should be, and they, they really demanded a sort of conformity of message on the topic on social media. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but there was one woman who got fired from like her, not even from like a public facing job. She was just like a fucking wagey at Home Depot, and she got fired. She got fired for making fun of the firefighter, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, she's just a private citizen. Why are you canceling this person who works at Home Depot? It's fucking nuts. But there was definitely this conformity of message on that story. And then you go back and see the other various events that were somewhat similar, like Nancy Pelosi's husband getting bashed in with a hammer, or when that Ryan Carson guy, the BLM activist, was stabbed by a black guy and died defending his girlfriend. And there was absolutely no sympathy from the right whatsoever. They just made fun of these people. And I'm like, hold on, you can't just have this principle of utmost seriousness when someone dies in a tragedy, but only have it go one way. It just makes you seem like hypocrites.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Well, therein also lies one of the problems. I do think a lot of people are probably actually hypocrites, and a part of this can be explained simply by reactions, right? Something happens to your side, so you react that we must take this seriously, then something happens to the other side, the same thing, and it's not happening to you, so you can take it less seriously, you know? And this is natural, but it's also one of those things that we do actually need to explore as we come into a position of cultural authority. The left lost its cultural hegemon because of this, because they were unwilling to be reflective. Like even the chat right now, I saw elements of going like, damn, like you joked about the firefighter, how dare you? It's like, okay, I agree, that was in poor taste, but you must then also look at all of the other people who are making jokes of left-wingers and go, isn't that in bad taste too? And if not, what is your reason? Is it simply because they are on the other side of you? In which case, is that not exactly what we criticize the left of? Will that not then make the normies look at us and go, wait, aren't you just the guys you were attacking? Why should we side with you?
Service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah, there's a really strange catch-22 here, where like, if you have no principles, you will just end up becoming the principle-less enemy that you're fighting. But also, if your enemy has no principles and you do, you're depriving yourselves of certain weapons. And so in the short term, you might need to use those weapons in order to survive. But in the long term, it ends up being a race to the bottom, where there's this continuing escalation. There's no good solution to the problem as long as one side continues to escalate things. There's no good solution to the problem.
Yes, I think that is one of the core fundamentals that we can start with for trying to figure out a definition of the right that is useful. That is the extent to which the opposition's tools can be used, and it remaining moral and effective. Because you're absolutely correct. If
here, just real quick, so you have Harriers in the chat right now saying our principle is victory. You have Wolf. You have Tailfin saying losing on my principles is what got us where we are. Okay, fair enough. But you know who said those exact words? It was Vosh who said those words.
Now you're quoting Vosh.
Yeah, it's that very viral clip where he says, I don't give a shit about principled failure. And
Heresy's
it's like, okay,
the question.
You need
Fire
to now
is the answer.
balance these two competing interests, where if you go completely off in the no principles side, then you will not be worth actually following, all right? A left-leaning person with principles, all other things equal, will be better than a right-leaning person with absolutely no principles whatsoever.
And the problem, too, is this will not lead to victory. Like, you say, my principle is to win. Okay, how did that work out for the left? How did I have no principles other than victory work out for the left?
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer. It
antagonized everyone. Again, we must remember politics is us, the 2%, that know what we're talking about, arguing over the attention of 98% of people who literally just want to grill. They are not going to understand the subtleties. You can't go like, oh, no, I can do this. Well, why? Well, you see, I'm a conservative. Yeah, but you're doing the same as that guy. Yeah, but I'm different because this, and this. Like, I don't care. I'm mowing my lawn. I'm not paying attention. And at the same time, though, again, victory is necessary. Like, the left is an evil force, straight up. It is a negative force. It's ruined most of the things that it's touched. So clearly it must be fought, and clearly it must be defeated, and if it is willing to do certain things that we are not, then we cannot defeat it either. Like cancel culture, for example. Cancel culture in gaming has become a very common thing now, but not against individuals so much as against corporations. A trailer has something that people don't like. Immediately, it gets attacked. Indiana Jones, the latest game, for example, had the slightest hint that they might possibly be going in a wokeist direction because of one female character and because they're like, well, you punch Nazis in this one, and it flopped in sales. And this is necessary to teach the corporations that no, we are very aware of whatever you are doing. Any hint, people will get angry at you. At the same time, however, if you extend this to its logical conclusion, then we become the left. Now we are, fuck, what is her name again? The evil woman started all this shit.
Zoe Quinn?
No. Other one.
Anita Sarkeesian?
There you go, yes. Anita Sarkeesian's quote, you have to point everything out and it's exhausting.
Yes, that's right. Everything is racist, everything is sexist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Yes.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean, yeah. And also, I do think that there's definitely a hint of everyone's woke sensors are so fine-tuned now that people are kind of going into overdrive and starting to see woke things where there actually isn't them. Like the Indiana Jones example is a great one, because if people, like, I saw Synthetic Man say that it's one of the reasons it's a woke game is because you punch Nazis, and I'm like, that was the point of the movies, Go back and watch the first and third movies. You're always punching Nazis. It's not like it's not true to form for Indiana Jones. He fought the fucking Nazis, man. And I mean, I know there's going to be some disagreement in the chat, some serious, maybe even disagreement from you, Arch. But everyone right now is calling Witcher 4 woke because of how Ciri looks, and I just don't think that's true. I think now, like, the woke sensors have been so overtuned, people are seeing woke stuff everywhere, even where it doesn't exist. Like, even if you think Ciri is less attractive in Witcher 4, fair enough. I think she is too.
Wow.
But to somehow compare Witcher 4 to fucking Concord is ridiculous. These are clearly not the same type of things. Like, there's something different happening in these two games.
Fire is the answer.
And just be like, oh, well, it's all woke. Like, it's stupid.
Wow. I don't know if this is the hill I'd choose for this example, Dev, as recently the developer of The Witcher 4, like yesterday, came out and said that they're planning to talk about sexism and racism with their game.
Let's see here.
So, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I agree. Many people's woke senses are far too overtuned, and I'm beginning to worry that mine are overtuned as well. But all too often there is indeed fire where there is smoke with this.
Give me a second.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Right. Oh, hello, Artemis.
Well, no, I found the original. Like, this article is referencing a
Eurogamer article,
interview. Yes, I'm just kind of reading the original interview. Yeah, so sexism is only mentioned in one part. Let's see here. Okay. I would say, this is from the guy that's being interviewed. I would say the world of The Witcher is a really dark one that's really inspired by, of course, dark fantasy folklore, but also medieval to early Renaissance history. And that was a tough world, tough for many different groups, women among them. As an example, in The Witcher, we also deal with a lot of racism when it comes to non-humans. And this is something that we want to keep up with Witcher 4. And that's true. I don't know if you played the original 3 Witcher games, but I mean, they had a lot of fantasy racism in it, and I don't think dealing with fantasy racism issues makes a game woke. It's something that's been happening for decades now.
And yes, fantasy racism in Witcher 4 and Witcher the TV series was not fantasy racism.
Yes.
And he goes on to say, we make games for adults, and it means that we tackle some difficult topics. He goes on to say that they're going to talk about this. We tackle them without giving easy answer, opening difficult questions, etc. Going to as well. Yes, here is a woman as a witch in the world. This is an unusual stage. I think it's going to be this. So I don't think this is going to be the story everywhere. But since this is a part of the world and we want to tackle so many of those different themes, it is definitely also going to appear there as well. I don't trust CD Projekt Red to tell me about racism, Dev. I don't trust them for a second. They're a company that hire based on sex, okay? They give artificial advantages to females. They give them money and privileged access to their company for networking. I will not listen to these motherfuckers telling me about sexism.
Maybe so. And this is one of those things where, maybe the game comes out and it's a woke piece of garbage. Maybe it comes out and its politics are woke, but it's still a good game. Maybe it comes out and it's not woke at all. I think it's too early to tell. I think people who are jumping the gun on this are kind of ridiculous, and maybe they've been in the culture war trenches a bit too long. There are other games where like it's very, very blatantly obvious. I again return to Concord. Another obvious one is Dustborn. Those games kind of wear the wokeness on its sleeve, and you can just see you can just tell by looking at it. But like these other games where people are screaming woke, like Indiana Jones, even Star Wars Outlaws, like that game was fucking terrible. But the fact that the main character was, not that attractive is the least of the game's problems.
Well, that's the thing, too. I actually think it is better for people to be wary at this point. Do not give them money. Assume the worst. Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. And watch other people play it. Wait for the reviews. Wait for the trusted sources. Only then...
Wait for streamers that you like, yeah.
Yeah, should you act on it? Because we lose nothing by assuming the worst about Witcher 4. Nothing whatsoever. Because then, if it comes out and it's a great game, we can just go like, oh, cool, awesome, I'll play it then.
Yep. However, you did just say 5 minutes ago, Arch, that you were afraid that your own Wokedar has been overtuned as well.
Yeah, but not in the case of Witcher 4. I'm getting more and more sure in that case.
Okay, fair enough. So what would you say is an example of it being overtuned then?
The secret level 40k episode is one of those. Because, okay. God, we are wandering off topic, but this does need to be resolved, so let's do this. There has been rumors going on for quite some time now that they are going to try and sneak the woke in essence. Now, part of this is Bridge, which I think is absolute nonsense, that is enormously overhyped, because Bridge is, of course, about cultural effect, and that cultural effect has long since been defeated. In fact, the very fact that we are talking about people being overly sensitive means that something like Bridge is a pointless endeavor. But what they were talking about more subtly is to add in things that only the media literacy crowd would pick up on, to in essence allow them to continue to make a convincing argument for why something is presenting a certain worldview. And the 40k one has one of those, where you see Titus as a child, and the guy who recruits him is like, this child had no fear, and you see Titus covered in blood and all dark and stuff. Like, what could such a child do? As if he's scared of this.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Of course, being a Space Marine and recruiting him to be a Space Marine, he is going to be a superhuman warrior. And this immediately makes me think of a certain group of people that go, oh, the Space Marines are just...
Heresy's the question.
Just brainwashed, mass-murdering space fascists. All of them are evil. And the episode ends with the recruiter now watching a fully grown Titus run towards the enemy to cut them to pieces with an expression of, like, worried, not fear, but like, oh my god, my worst fears were confirmed on his face. And none of it is so strident that I can say for sure that is the point they wanted to make. This is the moment where I'm wondering if my gaydar is too fine-tuned, but I also absolutely see the media literacy crowd looking at that and going, see, even the Space Marines are worried they're two murderous fascists.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this example specifically. I haven't been following the Warhammer 40k stuff, but I get what you mean, yeah. I think I've seen some other examples too of just people like really flying off the handle at being overly tuned towards like seeing woke stuff where it doesn't exist, and also uniformly believing that all woke stuff is bad, right? I think I gave the example on social media today of Baldur's Gate 3 being a good game that people really love, and yet it's considered to be a woke game. So there is like a pattern that you can identify where something is woke and also bad, but it's not a one-to-one. The Venn diagram isn't one-to-one on this.
At which point, I guess we then need to question how many drops of blood before the thing is tainted.
Well, do you think that Baldur's Gate 3 is tainted?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it a bad game though?
Yes, parts of it. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the more interesting examples of this, because it starts out really great. The first season, kind of quote, like the first area, the first chapter, I guess, fantastic. Second chapter, it's starting to show some cracks. Third chapter, holy shit, you didn't even finish this. What the hell happened? And coincidentally, along with the growth towards the third chapter, more and more characters of weird hair colors start arriving. More and more characters of weird combination of races and skin colors arriving, like pink gnomes with purple hairs and green beards and shit. And there is definitely something there where the story direction or the guidance or the writers changed and grew worse as the game also grew more visually progressive. That is not to say that this project is spoiled, but there is absolutely a point there you can look at and go, okay, something clearly happened here, and it appears to coincide with progressivism.
I guess what I mean is more like when you play Star Wars Outlaws, it's a bad game. And I don't think anyone disputes the fact that it's a bad game, except somebody who works for IGN and was paid off to say that it was a 7 out of 10. It's like a fucking 2 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10, that game. It's fucking terrible. But like Star Wars like even if you might say, okay, well, there's some woke elements to Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, there is. But the woke elements are kind of independent from the game being bad. When you look at Baldur's Gate 3, it's not the same sort of thing, because yeah, there are woke elements in Baldur's Gate 3, but the game's still good and it's still sold well, and everyone still kind of views it as like there's almost no dispute that Star Wars Outlaws is a bad game. Everyone just accepts that. But people talk about, like, some people absolutely love Baldur's Gate 3 and think it's a fucking masterpiece, right? So it's one of those things where I don't know, even if you played Baldur's Gate 3 and you didn't like the woke elements of it as the game went on, clearly the market has kind of spoken on this one and said, no, it's a good game.
True, but that's the thing too. Like, the market is the one that eventually decides, but we can influence the market. And that's what we have been doing so far. The market is often retarded. Very often so. And as I said, the market doesn't understand what's going on. That's why so many normies suddenly woke up the last, 4 years and gone like, why is entertainment shit? It's like, it's because you've been slow-boiled on this stuff for the last decade.
Yes, that's definitely true too. And yeah, everyone's talking about how, Suicide Squad has completely fallen apart. It's been Suicide Squad has been kind of like a slow motion train crash over the past year, because they keep releasing new updates and no one fucking cares. And they finally they released the final one and announced the next 4 are just blanket canceled. And it's like, well, of course they are, right? It's just fucking done. But yeah, it's this is something, because we're now talking about video games, and this is a much larger discussion than just video games. I mean, I feel like we kind of defaulted back into this mode here.
Heresies,
because it's what we know the best.
Fire is the answer.
It's what we know the best. Yeah.
Because again,
well, here, let's go to the other side of it then, because the Goonergate thing is not about progressives pushing politics into gaming and gamers resisting it.
Okay.
Goonergate
Before that,
is about how right-wingers want to push politics into gaming and gamers are resisting that.
Yes, because I think there's an element here that we can kind of overlap. Mm-hmm. So with the fall of quality, there's a wonderful example of a person, Bruce Timm, who's the guy who created the original Batman the Animated Series and the character Harley Quinn. And everybody loves Harley Quinn. Everybody fucking loves Harley Quinn. She became a massive fan favorite despite being just a sidekick. And now she's got her own comics, TV shows, and all kinds of shit. And in the most recent iteration of Batman, that same guy, Bruce Timm, who was part of running Cape Crusader, made Harley Quinn into this absolute mess. Like, same guy, but 20 years later, or 30 or something, even worse. Like, this is the corrosive effect of not necessarily even ideology, like the left at least, where you see a character that was created during the height of a creative freedom, of interest, and of passion for projects, and eventually culminating into this. And you can kind of see a similarity here in Goonergate, which is why I bring it up. Because a lot of the people on the right would probably look at old school Harley Quinn, or at the very least the newer variant of Harley Quinn in a hot pants, and go, well, this is clearly Gooner bait, right? But that too will lead us to the exact same fucking place again. The horseshoe
Service guarantees
is very much so real on this one.
Well, that's the funny thing, because during Goonergate, I saw JF Trent, probably one of the most extreme examples on the anti-gamer side here, say that horseshoe theory doesn't exist, and that if you believe in it, you're just an idiot. And I'm like, hold on. You are the living example of the horseshoe, though. All right. Okay, just real quick. So, chat, just in case you don't know the full story here, we all know that you have like weirdo woke progressives who are saying that normal human sexuality is objectifying and oppressive and discriminatory, so they're going to make all the characters in video games be ugly, unless they coincide with safe horny, like for example, you're having sex with a bear in Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, but for the most part, if it's something that a normal, straight dude would like, that shit's getting censored because it's objectifying. That is kind of the woke puritanism, right? And those people are getting like pretty much blown out of the industry right now. Stellar Blade's a huge success. The First Descendant's a huge success. Marvel Rivals is a huge success. These games all have traditionally attractive female characters that appeal to your very normal sort of male gaze thing. Well, now that the woke Puritans are blown out, there's a section of the right wing that is now breaking from the gamers and saying, no, actually, we shouldn't keep having these big tits and big asses on the screen because that's degenerate. And these are the religious Puritans this time.
Heresy's
They're making
the
a
question.
comeback.
Fire
And
is
that's
the
where
answer.
you get like the Dread Roberts guy, Melanie Mack is saying this, JF Trent is saying this. A bunch of people who were ultimately against the woke people, along with gamers, they've now broken off and said, no, we need to censor this stuff, but for different reasons. They have a different motivation in doing so, but they both do lead to the same endpoint of, basically desexualizing female characters in video games. And like it's kind of funny because I saw these two comments in the chat, and there were one after another. All right, one was by Darth Revan, who says this is why laissez-faire sucks, and he's referring to the idea that you just let the market decide a thing, and that is kind of the live and let live morality of, well, if people don't want naked women, they won't buy them, so just let the market decide. And then right after him, you see Draconorus saying a few tradcons are the entire right, and it's like, okay, so we now have these two factions, and they're both considered to be right wing. And one of them is the religious Puritans, and the other one are for lack of a better term, the Goonergators, right? The ones who want that sexual content in their video games. These are both right-wing factions from the point of view of the left, because they're both bigoted and anti-woke or whatever. But nonetheless, they now oppose each other, and they oppose each other for different reasons than why they both opposed the progressives.
Yes, and we have like the extent of this too is another question, right? A few tradcons. I don't know if there's a few of them. I guess we're going to be waiting and seeing, right? Because I will say a lot of people did come out pretty hard, very hard, against the censorship crowd, and I think that will be one of the few like unifying things that our position can unify around is anti-censorship. Because at the end of the day, having the market decide is what is the ideal. However, the market is not the only force. If it was the only force, then great. But if it was, then leftism wouldn't have risen in the first place. Because people never stopped liking the old Harley Quinn. People didn't stop buying the old comics. That's why Spider-Man is still like the biggest seller of superheroes, and Batman and so on. But the creatives started changing it instead. So it wasn't the market deciding, it was the creatives and the people, the interns that started changing things. Because we don't have a perfect market. I mean, Disney, we've talked about this for ages, how Disney Crew does things that don't sell. And we're wondering why it doesn't sell. Because the people inside the company tells them that it will sell, and it will sell better. Eventually, they just gotta push it hard enough.
Here, so there's a bunch of people in the chat. First of all, there's lots of dev haters. The normal dev haters are here. That's fine. Hi guys, I love you too. There's a few people who are saying though that I don't know what I'm talking about, but no, I'm pretty sure I'm correct on this. And actually, I kind of want to test it. Arch, if you don't mind, can you set up a poll in the YouTube chat and just ask the poll? The poll should be like, what is the actual right wing? And one of the options should be, is it the anti-censorship crowd, or is it and the other one should be, is it the anti-degeneracy crowd? Okay, let's poll the chat and see what they think the actual right wing is. Because anti-censorship, that's like the libertarian position. It's like, okay, let the market decide, let people individually choose what they want. And there have definitely been people in the chat who have said, like British Tragedy said, the soul of the right wing has and always will be libertarian. Okay, fair enough. But then there's people that, Matt said that the libertarians are just liberals. They're not true right wingers. It's like, well, hold on, like, these are clearly two different factions, and they both call themselves right wing, and they have been allies in some instances. So, like, what is the real right wing, do you think?
Well, the problem there is that libertarianism has failed. There's no question about it. Libertarianism does not work because it is too easy to exploit. Its own elevated moral standards leaves it defenseless before people who wish to take advantage of those moral standards. So we need to pick and choose the best elements of it and instead apply a more muscular liberalism that is willing to actually extol its own virtues. Like, that is the anti-censorship thing.
Okay, hold on, Arch. Okay, just real quick. Firstly, where did you get muscular liberalism from? Because I'm nearly done my Goonergate video, and I used that term in the script. And I don't think I shared my script with you.
No, I invented it just now. Why are you stealing it from me?
Well, you didn't invent it. It comes from a philosopher that I'm quoting.
From a philosopher? Okay, well, I did invent it, Dev. I invented it right now. Where did...
You're not the philosopher
who's this other guy ripping me off?
Hold on. Let me just grab him real quick. Yeah, Stephen Hicks. Professor Stephen Hicks.
Stephen Hicks. Never heard of the guy. Let's see.
Yeah.
He looks like a serial killer.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Are they the same Stephen Hicks?
He definitely does. Probably not.
Okay, here, let me post this in live links then. This is him.
Yeah, that's not the same guy. Nope.
Yeah, so he coined the term muscular liberalism to basically refer to a liberalism that is not so concerned with equality that it simply believes that all things and all people are equal, and in fact it does have its own moral standard that it's willing to enforce.
Yeah, largely. Willing to enforce is, I think, rather than willing to enforce, I would say willing to assert. But yes, largely that's what I agree with.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, okay, just real quick, when you posted that poll, a whole bunch in the chat said it's both, it's both, it's both, it's both. No, guys, you have to understand, it cannot be both definitionally. All right. Because if you are anti-censorship, then you must allow some degeneracy, because there are some degenerate things that will be artwork, and either you censor the degeneracy or you don't. So which of these two principles is more important? Not censoring art or stopping degeneracy? That's why you can't say both, because these are mutually exclusive positions, guys.
Well, the problem is the position, the right, is it's everything. It's everything to the right of the left. It's a pointless term in many ways, and yet it's the best we have, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I do kind of agree with that. But so hold on. Let's see. You are censoring that which you deem degenerate based on your moral system. Okay, well, Mr. Luckless, that just means that you are more anti-degeneracy than you are anti-censorship. Like, that's your choice. It can't be both. Oh my God. Okay, Arch, please. You understand what I mean when I say it can't be both, right?
Heresy's the question.
In an absolutist position, yes. But like there is here, There you go. Boris Vallejo. There are a lot of people on the right now who would say that this is degenerate, that this should not be accepted. It's too sexualized. We should get rid of this, which would be censorship. Whereas my position is, no, that's kind of cool, actually, and we should not censor Boris Vallejo paintings, ever, because he's a god, in essence. But then you can also look at, like, the more middle of the road, like the old school, the Amazon woman. I swear to God, there are plenty of people on the fringes of the right wing today that will look at that and go, if you like that, you're gay. Like,
the Amazon one, what do you mean?
The, that one.
Heresy's the
hold
question.
on. Oh, we're talking about...
Fire is the answer.
Let's see here.
I'm sure you've seen the argument that came a couple of years ago now. You know, if you lick the abs, you're gay.
Yeah, that was Sargon making that argument. And I was like, this is kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Service guarantees
No, it didn't originate from Sargon, no.
No, it came from Academic Agent, I know, but still.
And we now have people making the argument that porn is gay. If you watch any sort of porn, you have a gay demon inside of you.
Fire is the answer.
The word gay
That was Melanie Mack, yes.
Yes, this has now become a pointless term that simply just means degenerate. But degenerate is too close to what the left does. It's too obvious of a similarity, and so they want to kind of avoid that one.
Fire is the answer.
Yes, absolutely. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm now digging through my Goonergate files to pull up exactly what we're talking about. See, where is it?
Meantime, we've wandered. We have no structure.
Well,
to this. That's the problem.
I don't think we've wandered. I think this is actually exactly what we should be talking about.
We've come back to it at least. I think one of the key points that we are going to get to here is extremism. That is one of the big problems. Anything taken to the extreme is going to be negative. Viewing everything as degenerate, if you have a woman in a bikini, is an extreme position, which then leads to the extreme assumption that we need to start censoring it.
Okay, I found it. There it is. Chat, get a load of this, okay?
Heresy's the question.
If you watch porn of any kind, you're probably entertaining a gay demon. God can deliver you from that. Turn to Jesus and walk with him. Wow.
Yes. This was also another guy that we covered on the Archcast a while ago who made the argument that any sexual activity without the goal of procreation is homosexuality.
Yes. Fuck. I remember he's like wearing a MAGA hat and he's like sitting there very serious and he's like, yeah, so if you have sex with your girl, you're gay if she doesn't get pregnant. And I'm just like, okay. Like what he means to say is that it's sodomy, right? Because sodomy originally just meant any sort of sexual activity that was for pleasure only. However, sodomy has since come to mean basically gay anal sex. Okay, so what he should be saying from a religious point of view is that it's sodomy, but he's kind of like, I don't know. He seemed like he might have been maybe a little bit unintelligent, so he's just like using slang. That's fine. But he's like, yeah. So having sex with your girlfriend if she's not getting pregnant is gay sex. And it's like, okay, dude. We've kind of looped around using various shifting words to say something that's completely ridiculous.
Yep. And let's see, listen, Mr. J. Bull says there's something interesting there. Was Melanie Mack asking for censorship, or was she asking for room in the market between woke gratification and stripperific? Well, this one right here answers that. Everything in moderation, says Dumpster Bud, which is my position, and she responds, perversion in moderation is still perversion. In other words, no, there is no moderation. It is one thing or the other. It is all or nothing. That's a pretty clear and stringent call for censorship, in my opinion.
Yes, and in fact, I can probably pull something up here real quick. Okay, now, so here it is. So this is Akko going back and forth with Melanie, where Melanie says, I'm on the side of Jesus Christ and not supporting perversion. You can have attractive characters without being pornographic.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Porn. What she's calling pornographic in this conversation is not actually anything that's pornographic. Like there's no actual sex. There's no genitals on display. It is that video of the First Descendant where there's a girl in a thong who's like shaking her butt. And that's what she's calling pornographic. So the label of porn has been stretched over things that aren't actually porn in order to link them all
Heresy's
together.
the question. Fire
Because
is
they're
the
all
answer.
sexually degenerate or sexually immoral by Christian standards, but they don't want to use those words. Instead, they're stretching this more secular term, pornographic, to cover them, when it doesn't actually make any sense.
Well, it's because porn is an effective cudgel. You call something porn, you go, oh, well, of course. You know, you shouldn't have the porn in the video games, of course. And the porn in question is, well, a chick in a pair of hot pants, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And when you then also go with the idea that porn is a gay demon, yes. And this is almost unavoidably the first step down the then long and slippery slope, which we all agree exists, to going, oh, you shouldn't do it, and eventually it becomes, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to do it, and eventually it becomes, somebody should stop you from doing it.
Yes.
Now, perhaps I'm being uncharitable.
You...
Perhaps Melanie Mac has far more stringent moral standards than that, more principles. But it is what has happened to everyone else.
Heresy is the question.
And I mean,
Fire
I've had
is
nothing
the
but
answer.
good interactions with Melanie Mac over the years. I don't hate her or anything. And I haven't necessarily seen her go down this pipeline, but I've seen many people go down this pipeline where they started off in this sort of free speech maximalist position. A great example of this, I think, is Andrew Torba. You know, he started up Gab to be a free speech maximalist zone. And now he's saying, like, okay, you should not be able to post porn on Gab. We're not going to allow people to post anything that's like pro-Israel on Gab. And basically, like, he swung to the other direction where he moved out of the free speech maximalist position and he took up censorship again. Only this time, he's censoring a different section of the conversation than the left wing.
Service guarantees citizenship.
But he's still ultimately censoring. He's still not leaving it up to individual choice to talk about what they want to talk about or post what they want to post.
Yes, and again, this is virtually universal throughout all of human history. Once people start going, oh no, this thing is bad, they pretty much always just follow that logical thought to, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. It is very, 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 very rare
guarantees citizenship.
to see the position, this is bad, but I'll let you do it because it's your freedom, triumphs. That is rare.
Yep. And in fact, that's why I use the term free speech maximalist, not free speech absolutist, because I think it's actually impossible to be a free speech absolutist, really, when you really boil it down. Like, everyone agrees that you shouldn't be able to post child porn on your Twitter timeline, even though it would be your speech. It's like, well, no.
Service guarantees
I think we're okay with
citizenship.
censoring that, right? So you can't be a free speech absolutist. And anyone who claims that they are is either uneducated or lying. And when I was claiming it, 6 or 7 years ago, I was definitely uneducated.
Fire is the answer.
But free speech maximalist means that to the maximum extent that common morality will allow, you will in fact let people say things that you don't agree with.
Heresy is
I think
the
that's
question.
probably the preferable
Fire
position.
is the answer.
Yes, because at the end of the day, everything in moderation is actually the golden rule here. Everything in moderation. That should be the name of our new political party. Just the moderalists. Yes, there you go.
Heresy is the question.
The
separatists.
Fire is the answer.
I like the separatists. Or the federalists.
Separatists.
Yeah, federalists.
Mm-hmm.
The federalists. Yes. Because it is in essence, my political view has become in part what the left did. What I like is good. What you don't like is bad. What you like is bad. And I just decide that on a case-by-case basis now. There is no overarching rule
Service
book.
guarantees
I just make it
citizenship.
up as I go along. And honestly, I think muscular liberalism or authoritarian liberalism. Yeah, I like that term better. I'm going to start using that instead. Authoritarian liberalism.
You will be libs or else?
Yes. Yes, largely yes. Authoritarian liberalism. The tyranny of neutrality enforced upon all. No, you will allow the porn.
I mean, I am mostly in that camp too, as well. That I
Okay.
do think that, like, when I was working on the I'm still working on the Goonergate video. I'm hoping to get it out by tomorrow, maybe Saturday. It's pretty close to being done now. But one thing that I pulled out was a debate between Destiny and Daniel Hakikaju, if you know who he is. He's like this crazy Muslim activist. And they were basically arguing, they were arguing over whether or not liberal values require the domination of Islam, or can Islam exist within a liberal system. And Daniel Hakikaju's argument was basically that liberalism must always dominate Islam because liberal values mean that we can't marry off our daughters when they're 9 years old. We can't kill gay people when they've sinned. There are certain things that Islamic morality requires us to do that liberals will always stop us from doing. So liberalism must always be oppressive to Islam. And Destiny's argument, and I agree with it, is basically, yeah, and that's good. You shouldn't be able to marry off your 9-year-old daughters. You shouldn't be killing gay people because they're gay. And so if it means that we have to stop you from oppressing these people, then that's a good thing. It's like, well, yeah, I guess it is a good thing. But here's the thing. The person who's like hyper progressive, who really does believe in that equality at all costs kind of morality, they'll say, oh, well, they just have a different culture and their views are just as valid as ours, and we should let them do whatever they want. And like that's kind of what the UK is suffering from right now with its various Islamic communities. But no, the correct answer is muscular liberalism. It's to say, no, fuck you. You will be liberals or you will get the fuck out.
Yes, because correct, authoritarian liberalism will require the submission of not just Islam, but all religions, regardless. And Christianity has already done that. Christianity has already bent the knee to liberal ideology. It has already stopped the majority of its sillier things, or it is simply viewed as a silly centralist dogma that people are kind of mocked for partaking in. I think like the Vatican still bans condoms or something because you shouldn't, stop from procreating, etc. And it's allowed to be a thing that they say, and everybody just ignores it. And that should be the same in Islam. Yeah, Islam should be allowed to go like, no, marry off your daughter at 9 years old. And everyone should just roll their heads and go like, no. And then the state should go, actually, legally speaking, no.
Exactly, right?
You're allowed to say it, but you're not allowed to do it.
There are certain tenets of Christianity that if someone consents to, they can do, but that shouldn't be forced on them the way that Christianity might want to force it on them. And liberalism steps in and says, no, you can't force it. If they want to do it, okay, go ahead. This is kind of part of your culture and no one's getting hurt, so go ahead. But you can't make them do it. And that's kind of, it's that ability to opt out of the Christian community or to opt out of the Islamic community and kind of do your own thing. That is where I think liberalism needs to plant its flag and say, okay, you can have these morals that are kind of different from ours, as long as you don't value some fundamental core tenets and as long as you don't let people leave when they want to leave.
Yes, and the difference is that this needs to be an overarching morality. It needs to be assertive. It cannot simply exist as it does today as a loose set of guiding principles that is rarely adhered to and certainly never enforced, because then it will fall. Liberalism has failed, but that does not mean that a more strident variant of it could not succeed in its stead.
Yeah, this is why I've said for a long time that like the liberals need to basically cut the progressives the fuck out of their spaces and say, no, you're not part of the movement. All right, the Voshas, the Hassan Pikers, these fucking radical crazies, they're not part of the fucking movement. The communists aren't part of the movement. The anarchists aren't part of the movement. You guys are retarded. One person in the chat said, this is the standard neoliberal and neoconservative position. Yes, it is. I don't know about Arch, but I can say for myself is that I am very much a standard kind of pro-institutions guy. I'm not a populist. I think our societies have gotten way more right than they've gotten wrong. And yeah, we need some fixing here and there, but like things are mostly okay, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, for me, you know what? I am 100%, not 100%. I'd say like 90% pro-establishment in a lot of these things.
Oh, there's the point at which we differ, because I am not. I am very much so on the board that no, there are far too much establishments, and the establishments themselves are the problem. They are the weakness. They are the issue that we are having. The intelligentsia and the academia, being their own walled gardens of absolute liberalism, is the reason why we are here today. and we need to pull that up with the root.
I agree with you when it comes to academia. There has to be a lot of purges that happen there, but in other domains, I think it's not nearly as bad. Like other parts of society have not nearly been as captured as everyone thinks that they are, I think.
Well, it depends. Again, the purges need not be absolute. They just need to happen.
Oh. It just depends on who and what you're purging. Because keep in mind, Arch, we had this other conversation about Trump, where I think Trump's going to purge all the wrong people. All right?
Yeah, and you're wrong about that stuff.
No. Trump is going to replace people who are loyal to the Constitution and loyal to America with people who are loyal to him.
Yes.
And that's not good.
Nope.
That's going to make things much worse. Much worse.
That is absolutely good, because there are far too many people in those institutions that aren't loyal to America either.
Yeah, but loyalty to Trump is bad.
Will trump the loyalty to the institutions. Yes. It must be done. It is a necessary evil.
I don't think so. I think that an entire executive branch staffed by people who are loyal to Trump is far worse than what we have right now.
Well, that's because you're a cuck. Simple.
Nope.
Also, Dev, I hear a squirrel scratching at the door. Do you object to letting it in?
We'll do it later. Let's read the super chats, because there's a lot of them.
Okay, fine. We'll do super chats. Then we can let the squirrel in. I guess the next step. Oh God, have we ever wandering off topic? But I guess the institutions will be the next one.
Just real quick. So people in the chat are saying like Caesar or nothing, loyalty to Caesar. Yeah, you guys are the problem. You guys are in fact the other side of the coin that I want to fight against. You guys are in fact the reason that I'm not right wing. You know, if being right wing means loyalty to Caesar or loyalty to Trump, then I am not right wing.
Guarantees citizenship.
No, Dev will stand with the institution no matter how corrupt, no matter how ruinous, no matter how obviously destructive.
No, of course
he will cling to it. Absolute loyalty.
I absolutely will not, but I'm also not going to be blind to Trump's own corruption. And there's a ridiculous... Okay, here, all right? You got Doge, right? Now, Doge isn't going to be an actual department. It's going to be a commission that looks into various waste in the federal government. Okay, fair enough. Who's going to be a major part of Doge? Well, that would be Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is the owner of SpaceX, which has... It's the company with the single most contracts with the U.S. government. I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, so the guy who benefits the most from institutional waste from the federal government to bloated contracts going to corporations like
Heresy's the question.
He is going to be the guy in charge of cutting down this institutional waste.
The guy that's bringing us into the space age is institutional waste.
Yes.
Dev,
no.
I'm going to put you in your corner now.
No. Listen to me. Okay, so Arch, do you believe that Nancy Pelosi, through her connections with her husband Paul Pelosi, have made some they've made some kind of insider trading? They've kind of used their influence and their knowledge to enrich themselves unjustly.
And I'm sure Elon Musk is going to benefit himself as well. But you know what doesn't matter, Dev?
What?
I hate Nancy Pelosi and she's evil.
Okay, but there's a difference.
And I like Elon
right?
Musk, and he doesn't appear to be evil.
If you look up the amount of money that the Pelosi's have gained, it's something like $1 million off of these trades. If you look up the amount of money that Elon gains off of these contracts, it's like 13 billion. All right.
Yeah.
If we're just talking about
the possibility,
no. Yeah, but if we're talking about the possibility of using government connections to enrich yourself, even if it's not happening, just the possibility of it, the possibility for Elon to do it is so much higher than Nancy Pelosi.
Absolutely, but the thing is, I don't think he gives a shit. Unironically, I am judging this on the relevant morality. Nancy Pelosi is enriching herself for the simple act of enriching herself. Elon Musk, unironically, actually appears to be doing things for the betterment of humanity. The things he do benefit me...
I don't believe that for a second.
Far more than Nancy Pelosi's.
No, I don't believe that for a second. I think Elon, like any other person, is self-interested, and if
Then
left
why
to his
did he
own
buy
devices,
Twitter?
wait, hold on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, why did he buy Twitter?
I mean, what has happened to Twitter since then?
Twitter has become free speech. Significantly more free
Service
speech.
guarantees
Oh
citizenship.
no, it hasn't. There are
Oh
still
yes,
certain
it
things
fucking has.
you cannot say certain
I
things on Twitter.
absolutely can. Like, you couldn't say certain things in the old Twitter. The current
course,
Twitter now,
yes,
you
I
can look
agree.
at the
Yeah.
political viewpoints on Twitter right now. It is still majoritively left.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a fucking second. No, I've honestly, all the leftists have left a fucking blue sky. All right, the right wing has control of Twitter, and that's fine. But the issue ultimately is that one,
Heresy's the
Twitter's
question.
a lot less
Fire
functional
is
than it
the
used to be just
answer.
on a technical level. Like there's bots like fucking crazy. There's people who there's whole ass accounts that are posting constantly, appearing to be real people in a way that just wasn't there 5 years
Heresy's
ago.
the
Like,
question.
the bot
Fire is
problem
the
on Twitter
answer.
has basically overrun the entire site. It almost feels like it's like part of the fake fucking internet. You know what I mean? Like just, the whole dead internet theory. Twitter feels like dead internet right now. But secondly, we do now know that Elon has like artificially boosted basically opinions that are more in line with his. That's still not like a
Service
pure free
guarantees
speech
citizenship.
platform. And thirdly, yeah, you still get banned for saying certain things that he doesn't like. He like, I know that this is how everyone thinks right now, but he has not actually created this sort of free speech haven. He's simply tilted the censors in a different direction.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
See, I'm looking for the poll on this.
Listen, if anyone disagrees with me, go on to Twitter and say the word cisgender. You will find that the tweet is blocked. And yeah, you might think, the word cisgender is stupid. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But still, that's still censorship. You can't say it's not. Yeah. So look here. Hold on. People in the chat are
Service
saying good,
guarantees
based, good.
citizenship.
Cisgender is a slur. Hold on. What happened to free speech, guys? Like
The left happened
slurs
to
are
free speech.
yeah. Slurs are free speech, aren't they, guys? What happened? Oh,
Again.
suddenly you're okay with it being censored. It sounds like maybe some of you guys are part of the problem then.
I'm trying to find this.
Hold on, we're supposed to be doing super chats.
70%
Service guarantees
of
citizenship.
Twitter users are left-leaning.
How old is it?
I can't find the fucking date on it. I saw a recent one that had it at about 60%. I'm trying to find it.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
I can't find it now, which annoys me. But as the argument you made previously, Dev, if one side is willing to use a tool and the other side is not, the side that is not will lose. Censoring back is not really that right-wing at that moment.
Sure. Okay, so I guess we have to get to a point where if the left says, okay, we've learned our lesson, we're not going to censor anymore, can you please stop?
Sure.
Elon would have to stop.
Sure.
But he won't.
How do you know?
Just
Your
guess.
fifis?
Yep.
Your assertion?
I see the patterns, Arch, is how I know.
Then how come, like, community notes is what it is? How can it be used against both left and right? Why is that not censored?
I'm not sure community notes is actually all that good of an arbiter of truth either. Because if something was false, but it was widely believed anyway, community notes would still amplify it. It's not like you can get at what the truth is.
Perfect truth? Is that how standard?
Oh, hold on. I found what I was looking for. Hold on. Yeah. I'll post it in live links. Elon Musk created a special system for showing you all of his tweets first. I don't know if you heard about this, but when Biden's account had more followers than Elon's account did, Elon marched into the offices of the various coders and said, "No, you must make me the account that everyone sees." Did you hear about this shit?
I did not.
Well, it's funny anyway. I will eventually do the Elon Musk video because I do not think that he is the savior of the right wing or of free speech as everyone thinks that he is. I think he has just as many problems as any other big celebrity or any other big politician or any other big figure doing anything. I think he is self-interested like everyone is. I think he is corrupt like everyone is. And I don't think he makes things better. I think he just makes them worse in a direction that helps him rather than helping other people.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I'm upset I can't find this fucking poll. I'm going to give up looking for it now. I'll spend too much time trying to find it.
Fair enough.
But no, again,
here.
when you have an absolute left-wing ecosystem, I'll make that argument, which it is, everything was absolute left-wing, and you introduce anything right-wing,
Heresy's the question.
It is an improvement
Fire
of the situation.
is the answer.
Even if he was actively censoring the left over the right, it would still be an improvement on the situation. And yet, he does not appear to be.
I don't know, man.
The moment, well, let's put it like this. The moment Twitter bans Biden, I'll agree with you.
Well, hold on. The reason that Twitter banned Trump is because of the incitement thing. Biden hasn't done that. There's a difference in behavior between these two men as to why one of them was banned and one of them isn't.
Again, we'll see when they ban Biden.
Well, when Biden incites a riot. You can't hold this standard because they're two different people.
I can absolutely hold that standard. Scott the Celt, that we win matters, but the way in which we win also matters. We must not seek an eye for an eye, or else all rules will be done away with. Yes. Scooby Douches, Shalom, Dev Haters. Pyman for $20. Yahoo! The big tent party is burning down. Tremere. I suspect that is the unavoidable result of anything, is that the larger coalition will eventually collapse, because it is no longer expedient.
Heresy's the question.
Yes, I think so too.
Fire is the answer.
This is something that I think was happening for a while. I mean, we didn't even get to the James Lindsay woke right part yet, because that's like the underlying philosophy of why there is this split between, let's say, the more normal right and the woke right. The woke right, the way that James Lindsay uses it is basically just to refer to right wingers who use leftist tactics. So you call the word woke right is a terrible fucking
Heresy's
phrase.
the question.
I know what he's
Fire
saying,
is the answer.
and he's pointing at something that is real. And there's some cope among right wingers. Oh, it doesn't exist. No. What Lindsay's pointing at does exist. It's just that the phrase woke right is a terrible phrase.
It's far more than a terrible phrase. It's an actively destructive one. So Lux and Doppelganger, please read the chat I'm about to send you on Discord. I cannot get it past the YouTube censor bot. $20. The left must have every tool used against them that they ever used against us before there can be any mercy or forgiveness. Largely, I agree. Yes, no. We must first show them the full folly of their ways, but there must be a point at which the weapons can come down.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Belial, I have to argue about Batman. Both Bruce and Bats are masks. He is a philanthropist who likes to solve crimes and would be a private eye if he wasn't responsible for his company. Also donating for more dev to troll his haters. No, Batman is simply a persona. Nothing stems from Batman. None of Batman's actions reside in Batman. Because Batman's moral compass
Service
would be
guarantees
completely
citizenship.
different from Bruce Wayne. His goals are completely different from Bruce Wayne's. Bruce Wayne is the character. Batman, well, he's the mask and cowl he puts on. Plibigan, my red pill moment was when I realized Kirsche was the base one and Dev was the cringe one all along.
Sure thing, buddy.
Mr. Twisted Frenzy, hey
Heresy's
Arch,
the
just on the
question.
stream. I take
Fire
you about
is the
entering the
answer.
realm of today's friends are tomorrow's enemies now. To an extent, there is actually there was a tweet, which I saved for this very purpose, from my good friend, a Raging Golden Eagle, who said this, which I largely agree with as well. Now that the SJW classics, the trad cucks, have taken the mask off and stopped pretending to be anti-censorship, now they claim they're pro-God, whatever the fuck that actually means, since every one of them has a different subjective definition, they must be purged from our ranks. I know some of you don't want infighting. They were never on our side, so it is not infighting. Or I worry about the left laughing at you. I think this one is the key point. They were never on our side. Largely correct, yes.
Heresy's the question.
The people, and a
Fire
lot of
is
them
the
as well,
answer.
I've seen as well, is the... Like, you have leftists. See, oh, God. I feel like I'm picking on Melanie Mack here, and I don't want to, because I have never talked to the chick, so I don't have a bone to pick with her, and I don't want to be hostile about it. But she is one of those people...
Use Trent then, because Trent is far more insufferable and also far more extreme.
Possibly, but I don't know. I haven't read anything about Trent. The thing that I was going to talk about here is that Melanie Mack was on the left, and then she found God, and now she's on the right. And I'm going to upset a lot of people by saying this, but I am deeply skeptical by the whole I realize the error of my ways one day argument. Because it pretty much one-to-one mirrors the woke idea of waking up. Suddenly you see the all of the intersectional problems. Suddenly you see all of the injustice. Suddenly you understand it all. Like you've been lured into the Matrix.
Well, the Bible does use the phrase "scales falling from your eyes." They're referring to the same thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It
So
upsets me.
when you look at Goonergate, you'll notice that you have the gamers who are saying that the right wing tradcons who want to censor big tits in video games or whatever. Well, they're just like the woke left because they want to censor things like they do. But then you see the you go over into the religious spaces and they say, oh well, the gamers, they're just like the woke left because they're both degenerates. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like from your point of view, the other side is evil. I get it. So at this point, it really just, part of the conversation here is which one of these two groups is actually the soul of the left, or the soul of the right. But the more important conversation is, what do you prefer? And for me, it's pretty easy. I prefer having attractive women in my games, and I don't believe in God. So that's my side. There we go.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about this whole soul of the right thing. I don't give a shit about the right.
I prefer more attractive women than you, Dev. You can be on the left now.
I am pro gamer when it comes to this stuff and not pro religion. And I don't really give a shit about what happens to the right wing. I don't care. They're not my group.
Well, that's the problem. It's like Dev will be there on his island as one massive group after the other treads on him, and he will look up. Why? Then he'll be stepped on again.
Because the truth of it is, it's going to happen to me anyway, so I might as well just say
Dev.
what's going on.
That's the problem. It's not the truth. You are a political commentary channel. You obviously care, you
Service
little
guarantees
fucking munchkin.
citizenship.
Well, no. Hold on. I have always positioned the videos that I make and the ideas that I put forward as pursuing truth first and not political expediency, which is why I've critiqued many different sides on many different occasions. And by the way, it's also one big reason why fucking everyone hates me, because I've poked pretty much every single hornet's nest.
That is still
That's
you
fine.
caring about your possession, Dev. That is still you caring about your perception of what is and is not.
Yes, but I'm not pursuing what's good for a certain mode of politics. I'm just pursuing what the truth is.
You're pursuing what is good for your idea of the preferential worldview. Like, this is how, okay, I think this should be above all. I'm going to make videos arguing for it and showing it off.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so
Dev.
No. I've made a whole bunch of videos critiquing the left, and I know that you know
Yes.
this because you've seen them, right?
Service
That does not
guarantees
mean that
citizenship.
they are in service of the right.
No, well, yes, they are. Like, all of this is.
But here's the thing: I've also made videos critiquing the right. It does
Yes.
not mean that doesn't mean that I'm making them in service of the left.
Of course you are.
No.
Yes, it's not that you intend it to be so, but reality does not bend because of your intention. If you make a video critiquing the left that makes the left look
Heresy is
worse,
the question.
that is to the
Fire
advantage
is
of
the
the
answer.
right. If you make a video making the right look worse, that is to the advantage of the left.
Okay. Yes, but nonetheless, that's not what I'm doing.
It is
The
what you are
fact-
doing. Now, what you
no.
intend to do is
Okay.
different.
Hold on. So, if you are pursuing something that is true, and it just so happens that that truth benefits
Heresy is the
one
question.
side over
Fire
another,
is the answer.
the fact that it is true is what matters, not who benefits.
Yeah, and that is your version of it. That is your worldview. That is the position you are putting forward. I believe truth over everything is the thing that matters. And then the ancillary knock-on effect of
Heresy
that
is the question.
still
Fire is the
exists.
answer.
Well, sure, yes, of course, but nonetheless, I'm still pursuing truth, not what's good for a side, and that is an important
and
part of the
that
conversation
is your
as well.
side.
Well, okay, you know what?
You are the truth über alles side.
Okay, fine. I completely accept that, Arch. I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. I'm on the truth. Okay, agreed.
There you go. Dev once again submits to Arch.
But you're just restating my position.
Yes, I know. And you were like, I don't care. I don't have a position. It's like, Dev, nail.
No, I never
Hammer.
said I don't have a position.
Fix.
No. I'm being pushed into a corner here.
I know.
I never said
Be in your
that I
corner.
don't have a position. No. I never said I don't have a position. I
You said you
that my
didn't care
position
about the
is
politics, that you didn't have any politics that you were pushing. You didn't have a position.
Yes. No. Those are two different statements. Those are two
No.
very different statements.
That
All
was
right?
the exact same statement, Dev.
No. Me not siding with a political side is not the same thing as me pursuing truth.
Yeah, but I didn't say side. I said position.
Okay. We need to fucking get a goddamn
Dev.
instant replay on this shit and wind it back and see what the fuck.
Stay in your corner where I put you. Live there.
Yeah.
Bill Skinner becomes a member. Thank you very much, sir. Carlson, as a right-wing person, I think there is a good chance the right will hold due to the right killing itself in 2008 and 12 and allowing central views. I hope so too, yes. I mean, my preferred version of the right wing is simply just a more centrist version of the right that will not go full, well, religious on us. Sir John's been a member for 24 months and has gotten his grey seer icon. Congratulations. We were laughing at the situation, not the loss of life. We warned that allowing free world savages would cause third world issues. Well, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you are laughing at the situation the situation is the loss of life. When I can see the delineation, but I don't think it necessarily works. Mark DeShame. The woke traded peace for power. Now that they see the fickleness of power, they want back the fragile peace they them shattered. Sorry, no. And Bill Skinner, here's 10 and a membership to piss off the Dev derangement syndrome havers. Hi Dev, part of the problem is the confusion around the term liberal, centre right or centre left. I say centre right, but lots say centre left. Yes, well, at the end of the day, these are very broad terms that we use here.
Like
Service guarantees
I've seen
citizenship.
very, very right-wing American commentators say that liberals are the same thing as communists, which is fucking retarded. I've also seen though, I've seen more lefty people say that Reagan was a liberal, and to be fair, he was a right-wing liberal. It's one of those things where liberalism means free speech, it means property, it means capitalism, it means freedom of association. But it also does mean governments and law and order and these other sort of things. So liberalism is definitely a big tent for sure. It's just the issue is when you have people like progressives kind of sneaking into it and subverting it.
And Artemis Fowl. The tragedy also involved the almost assassination of the leading member of the Republican Party and frontrunner of the general election. The risk of civil war was missed by an ear. People who wanted to lock your leader up make fun of the victims. For $50, thank you, Barkibus.
I don't quite know what he means by the second part of it. You may have to reread it or something.
Well,
The
I
first
can just
part.
put Barky Bussy. There, Barky Bussy, explain.
Do you actually think that there would be a civil war had Trump been shot? I'm not sure.
The issue being is that you being not sure is
Service
not
guarantees
a
citizenship.
gamble you would wish to make when one, you're not really a vested interest in it, and if the people who are supporting a candidate think this is the only way to save America, and you just killed off the last hope they have for a peaceful transition into a better life, you're playing with the odds at that point.
It's possible, yeah. I think there'd be a lot of outrage though, and I think a lot of them would just kind of go back to watching TV.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm very iffy on this too, because I am the first person to say that Americans are mostly fat, lazy sheep at this point. And it's like, we have guns! Yeah, you'll give them a heartbeat if pushed to do so.
I 100% believe that a large enough faction would start being actively violent and take up arms.
There would absolutely be rioting. Large scale.
Here's the issue.
Rioting, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The response to that would determine whether or not there would be a civil war.
Heresy.
Just like how the initial
fire is the answer.
Civil War started with only one or two states separating, and then the persecution of those small amounts of states led to all the other ones pulling out.
Yeah, that's
I think if the government kind of let them do their protest, maybe only crack down on the most extreme rioters, it'd probably burn itself out the way that George Floyd did.
Let me rephrase that. The violence itself would maybe die out. The acting of the states like Texas flaunting outright the federal government and deciding to do its own thing, like securing its own border, that would wildly increase. You would see state sovereignty. Well, I mean, what did you see under Biden? States stating their actual constitutional right to set their own agendas and defend themselves, whereas Biden lost several times in the courts. There would be a radically different philosophy in the United States after the would-be assassination of Donald Trump. It would be a civil strife era, if anything.
If Trump was assassinated, would it be Vance who takes his place then in the election? Probably.
It would be the front. Yeah, it would be whoever would be his VP. But was Vance even selected at that time to be VP? I don't think there was.
I don't recall.
I don't think he wasn't even close. It would have been the second in command, which would have been the whatever the woman was.
Oh, Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley was the last one in. So you could see her trying to step up and say, "Well, I'm still in the race, so I de facto win." You would see all the Republicans and pro-MAGA people go, "No, fuck you." They'd probably demand Vivek at that point.
Yeah, possible.
But the big thing is that even if it's 10%, right? You're playing with a 1 in 10 chance of civil war breaking out from the assassination of the leading frontrunner. And not only that, that wasn't the only one that happened this year. It happened multiple times.
There was 3, I think, in total, right? The other 2 didn't come anywhere near close as that.
The one at the golf course was like a
service
round of,
guarantees citizenship
away from it happening.
Yeah, still not as close though. They intercepted the guy before he got.
Well,
close.
yeah. It's kind of really hard to get closer than a bullet to the ear. Like your standards of getting closer is kind of like we're close are kind of difficult to quantify at that point.
No, I understand, Artemis. I understand, and just if we're talking about like which ones could have actually done it, it seems like going to the first one had a shot.
Sure. I mean, there's probably. I mean, what like. There's people mailing like poisons now to people's houses.
That's happened for a while though, man. Like that's not anything new.
Yes, but there was like an escalation in people going, "Holy crap! He's now has unlimited power. He's the God King. thanks to Supreme Court, we need to get rid of him. We need to six him. You know, I think some lefty political streamers are all about theorizing how to get rid of him.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that shit. It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. Which is, I don't know why people keep claiming the horseshoe theory is real.
What do you mean? Of course it's real.
It's not.
It's
not
obviously
to so the way it's being applied is wrong because it's not applicable. So we have, for example, when the Comprador thing happened, right? And you're saying that, oh look, the people are pearl clutching about this when the Nancy Pelosi thing happened. Well, up until
and other events, yeah, but yes,
not just other events. It's just from 2020, 2021, all the way up until 2024, we had event after event after event where the left side of the political aisle going, hey, we don't mind if you lose your job, your livelihood. We even support throwing you in jail, actually, for not taking this COVID shot. And then just instance after instance of them not caring about the right side of the fucking political spectrum, and then going, the right going, okay, well, obviously, all the way up until this point, you guys have shown that you don't want us alive. You don't even want anything to do with us. You want us dead or destitute. And then when somebody goes and starts making fun of a person getting murdered because he was a conservative or a MAGA person, and then you see the left side laughing about it, well, what do you expect them to do? They're going to go, okay, well, fuck you. Obviously, this is it. That's the last straw. We obviously can't deal with you people. We're done with the left. We don't care what argument you make. We're just going to do our own thing now.
So, all true. However, you're leaving out half the story.
Okay.
There's been yes, absolutely. There's been a whole bunch of right-wingers who have similarly shit on left-wing people, who have also been like, yeah, we don't care if you get hurt. We don't care if you get all fucked up. We don't yes. So I'm like, if you're talking about like people not having any sort of sympathy,
how many of those had institutional power that were actively destroying people's lives?
Heresy's the question.
Okay.
Fire is the answer.
The answer is no. There's none of them. They're just people on the internet that were saying that. Whereas the left was actively using the levers of government to persecute their political opponents.
Hold on, depends what we're talking about here. Because
the COVID lockdown requirement and mandates was in abusing the powers of OSHA and the executive authority, outstretching its constitutional bounds, was a direct attack on its political opponents.
Okay, let's actually. Do you want to actually dig into it? Like, is this a conversation you want to have right now? Like, do you want to actually start pulling things up? What happened, or
no? I'm just going to decide that Buckingham is correct.
No, because he's not. He's not correct. But it's going to take us like 3 hours of digging through a bunch of old files that I have saved up to show how you're not correct. But you're not correct.
Brevity is the soul of wit, Dev.
Then here's the brevity, okay? If we're talking, like, you can obviously find some weirdo, like, congressmen or something who are saying some crazy shit about the vaccines or whatever, right? However, if you actually look at the actions of Biden's administration on the federal level, the furthest they went is saying, okay, if you're not going to get the vaccine, you have to get tested when you go to your workplace. And even that was struck down. There was none of this, you should be fired. There was none of this, you should be forced to get vaccinated. That shit did not come from Biden. It mostly came from, again, weirdo people on the internet.
So, again, this is why I like doing this. Dev, tell me, what Supreme Court decision decided that Biden had broke the Fourth Amendment? No, is it the Fourth? Or housing people unconstitutionally?
Isn't that the third?
Is it the third? I can't remember which one it is. But it's basically the rent moratoriums was exceptionally unconstitutional. Biden coming right behind the fucking Supreme Court decision and going, hey, I know they're going to strike this down, but this will buy us at least 2 more months. Did we forget that happened?
Well, hold on. This is why I said, do you want to spend hours digging stuff up or not?
Well, that's the issue. We could do tit for tat, but only one side claimed that this wasn't happening.
Okay, I'm not claiming it didn't happen.
Okay, well, that's the issue. I'm talking about
it's not the issue, Artemis. Okay, listen, all right?
I'm talking about the viewpoint of the right and why they're doing what they're doing.
Yes, well, the viewpoint of the right is factually incorrect on a lot of this
They're,
stuff.
they're not factually incorrect on what they saw happen to themselves. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Just
No. How many times has it been some local government or some state government or some random retard on Twitter or some congressman who puts forward a bill that's absolutely fucking ridiculous and doesn't get passed and would never even have a chance of getting passed, and yet the right amplifies it on Twitter as Biden's regime is now implementing, and it's the most dumb fucking nonsense. That happens. It happened all the time the past 4 years, man.
Okay, I don't know, what does that have to do with the actual things that Biden did implement?
Okay, what it has to do with all this is that a lot of the right wing's perception of what's actually going on has been completely warped and mind fucked by online retarded bullshit. And that's not to say that there hasn't been bad things. Of course, there's been bad things, but I guarantee you, the majority of it is just people like getting fucked by basically right wing propaganda at this point.
Okay. Okay, so I can literally point to multiple things that the administration did do and what people do bitch about in the top issues that they had
Service
with the Biden
guarantees
administration.
citizenship.
Those
You
things
could.
aren't
Well,
fake.
hold on. You
They're
could,
not-
Art.
they're not-
You
they're not-
could, but
not something
we're
that
not digging up
people
things
don't
today.
talk about.
Remember, Arch
Yeah,
has
I
already said we
understand.
can't dig things up.
I understand. I'm just saying is that when we're talking about the right just making,
Service
having no
guarantees
principles
citizenship.
or whatever, we can easily point to the reasoning for why they're doing what they're doing, and it's not that they're wrong for their reasoning. It's just that they have made a value judgment.
Service
and saying,
guarantees
okay, well,
citizenship.
we can't deal with you because you're not rational. We're just going to do what we need to do and restore order, and then maybe we can come back to letting you people do whatever small things you wanted to do.
Service guarantees
and It's the
citizenship.
pendulum swing is all this is doing.
I get it, but that's wrong. That is factual.
It's not wrong.
is-
There's no factual wrong thing. It's a
it's
value judgment. You can't say it's
absolutely wrong.
factual.
Okay,
You can't
hold
say
on.
it's factual. It's a value judgment on
Okay,
what
no,
they
I
do.
get it, Artemis. I get it. It's a value judgment, but you base the value judgment on things that you believe the right wing was viewing from their point of view. Okay, I get it, but the issue
Yeah.
is what the right wing is viewing is not reality.
Yeah, but you also group the right wing in with gooners and then the fucking extreme religious people. So we're talking about a sect of people that you have compiled a shit ton of
fair
people
enough.
together.
Fair enough. I'm specifically talking about MAGA supporters.
Okay. Well then,
That is what I mean right now.
then we have to discern the MAGA supporters from people who just want to throw like a pipe. No, I would say a flaming Molotov cocktail into the government. We're gonna have to do a lot of things here to actually address the details of what you're describing as your labels. That's the problem I'm having.
And
that's
yet
why
we're not
unless
going to do
Arch
that,
wants to-
children.
Unless Arch wants us to dig out all the old files that we've both been saving up, we can't do
Yeah.
that right now.
Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the loyalty
Service
test
guarantees
bullshit
citizenship.
to bed with the live links. Biden already did this and fucked himself royally by removing congressionally appointed mandated terms, where Trump had appointed people that had terms of 3 years. Biden came right behind and fired all of them because he didn't like them, that they were Trump's people. And so, Dev, you have no argument in this regard about loyalty
Based.
because Biden already did it.
Based.
Biden has now set the standard, and Trump is just going to follow what he did.
No. You can't say that.
Biden
And here's why you can't
administration
say
has
that.
forced out
Okay.
18
Because Trump
appointees.
has been signaling for honestly the past 4 years now that if he wins, he is going to be purging people and putting in loyalists. So Biden is reacting to that eventuality.
I highly doubt that him immediately firing people the day he got into office or whenever this was has anything to do with what Trump was saying, because Trump went relatively silent for about a year politically after the
Hold on.
events of January 6th.
When he got into office, this was
Heresy is the
this was
question. Fire is
7
the
months
answer.
after he got into office.
Dev.
Yes.
Dev.
Yes.
Okay. When we say immediate, there are things people have
Okay,
to do.
you don't mean immediate. No, I got it.
Like, so I'm talking like a normal person here. I know people like to use extreme, stringent definitions of things like free speech, absolutism, trying to compare it to anti-censorship, which they don't. Normal people don't conflate those two together. So again, Biden set the standard.
No, I don't agree.
He literally set this standard because it was a court decision that ruled that the president could do this. So Trump wielding this power is because Biden set that standard. There's
No,
nothing
I
to
don't
argue
agree.
against.
No, here's the thing. If Biden didn't do this, Trump would still wield this power.
Okay.
Now that does
hold
sound
on,
like
hold
an
on. No,
assumption.
Artemis, he already did it. He did it before this. In
Well,
the
like
final
what?
days of it, no. In the final days of his administration, who
Mhm.
was he purging out of the DOJ?
Okay. What does that have to do with the?
What does that have to do with it? Artemis, this is no. You just asked me what does it have to do with it. I'm going to answer that. No, I'm going to answer it.
Did he
Artemis,
fire people or did they resign?
Hold on. This article you just linked in live links.
Yes.
Okay. They were given until 6 p.m. Wednesday to resign or be terminated. Yeah.
And what did
And they resigned, didn't they? Biden didn't fire them. They were
Sean
asked
Spicer-
to resign and
Heresy's
they
the
resigned.
question.
Spicer didn't
Fire
resign.
is the answer.
Yeah, so he stayed on, then he was fired. Okay, yes.
Okay, so
here-
that set the standard. I don't know why we're
Oh my God.
arguing each
Okay,
other.
Artemis. I know that you probably know this.
Uh-huh.
However, when someone is asked to resign from a position,
Service guarantee.
that is a way of
citizenship.
saying, "Hey, listen, you're getting fired, and here's how you save face."
Okay. Yes, and that's called calling the bluff, right? So when you don't
So
resign,
Sean Spicer called the bluff, and then he got fired. Okay, so it wasn't actually a
Service
bluff. Fine.
guarantee.
But here's the thing, all
citizenship.
right? Trump did the same.
but he asked for their resignation, and we're talking about positions that aren't mandated by Congress to be 3 years, right?
Okay.
They serve
The
at
question
will.
then is,
by-
did they resign or were they fired?
Yes, correct. Well, not only that,
No.
these are
Okay,
congressionally mandated 3-year terms that Sean Spicer was under on the board of the Naval Academy or wherever he was put in. The DOJ is at will of the president. They're not congressionally mandated terms.
Sure. Nonetheless,
So
it's
th-
still
that-
it is.
but
No,
that's
no, no,
not
this,
it.
this is still important. This is important because if we are going to believe that the DOJ should in fact be politically neutral, and it obviously should be, the fact that Trump was churning through DOJ employees
Mhm.
to try to find someone that would prop up his obvious false bullshit,
His
and he had
attorney
to
general, yes.
and he had to keep going through people, and they kept saying this isn't true, Trump. We can't say
he was
this
going
isn't
to
true.
go find an attorney general that would do what he wanted because the attorney general is the attorney, the president. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was looking for somebody that he could trust to do what he wants, just like how all attorney generals act.
No, you have to be clear here. It's not simply do what he wants.
Yes.
It's do what is false.
But now we are beginning to make wide assumptions of
Exactly.
the future.
Service guarantee citizenship.
I
no,
am
we're
going to
not.
cut it there. When we start going, he will, we will see. And in 4 years, when America is not in flames, I expect Dev to apologize.
And the DOJ isn't actually a.
Hold on, no,
Gestapo.
Artemis. Art said we're stopping, so either I get to reply
Calm down,
to this,
Artemis.
or
We can
We're
make a
gonna-
bet. Do you want to make a bet? We do a
Wait,
$2,000
about what?
bet again. About the DOJ not becoming a Gestapo and that it actually just functions normally, even with all the replacements.
What would be the?
And this will be a 1-to-1 bet, by the way.
What,
Because you're
how
so
would
hot
you
and heavy.
define normal? You know, this is a terrible idea. Both of you back into your
Yeah.
corners. Snardigan, having principles is based. Cry about it, chat. It is good.
Based.
You must have principles. Caspian BH Healthy. Part of me wants to give the left a taste of their own medicine, but that could lead to the left getting power back and locking in that power. Yes. Bad latency. My principles
oh my
are
God.
restrain power. Victory means power is restrained. Victory is self-consistent with principles.
I do want to point out that even if you disagree with me very heavily, and I know Artemis you do, and that's fine, that's okay. The chat is screaming
Service
about you
guarantees
platforming
citizenship.
me, Arch, and about how I must be deplatformed or else you should be punished. And I'm just sitting here thinking, listen, when James Lindsay said the woke right, I think you guys in the chat are part of what he's talking about. All right?
I think it's the attempt to
Abso-fucking-lutely.
the attempt to label a side that they don't like with a term that everybody actively knows is a bad thing is just a partisan effort to poke the right in the eye. That's all I think this is.
Oh no,
happening.
that's true too. I agree with you on that. However, even though it's a terrible term,
I don't even think it's
James
applicable.
Lindsay
Heresy's
James
the
Lindsay
question.
is
Fire is
pointing
the
at
answer.
a tendency on the right that is true, where there's a part of the right that is willing to use certain underhanded tactics, the same ones that we critique the left for using,
Yeah.
and we should say no, it's not good for the left to do it, and it's not good for you to do it either.
And how many of the people who say woke right then turn around and go, and pretend the woke right is all of the right, and then attack it as such.
I don't know. I don't.
Most of them do, and that's why I don't look at it. It is all a partisan.
I mean,
tactic.
maybe so. However, I mean, how many people have said that the most extreme edge of the left is the entire left, right? How many people say that like Biden is a communist, or that I'm a communist, or that like even the most milquetoast? No. Seriously, even the most milquetoast like center left lib types are somehow communists. You know, it's the same nonsense. It is painting an entire big tent movement with the brushes of the most extreme faction, and it's not good when either side does it.
I'm still trying to figure out how the woke right is any like major faction in and of itself on the right, considering that it has almost no power. It doesn't really affect anything other than the helping Trump get elected was like the most it was going to get.
That's a fair amount of power is helping Trump get elected.
Well, I mean,
let's look at it this way.
After that, why does anybody on the right need to listen to the woke right at all now that Trump is elected?
Because I think they make up the majority of his supporters in some ways. Hold on, no, not majority, no, not majority, but a very vocal and powerful component of his supporters are the woke right.
Are they going to be the ones buying the video games?
Probably not, to be honest.
Oh, okay, well then I don't think anybody's going to give a shit.
We are getting ahead of ourselves. Let's instead begin with the source of this, the woke right.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, just as an example, I think Jack Posobiec is someone that could be properly called
Fire
woke
is the
right,
answer.
even though I hate the label.
So why do we keep using... Stop.
What? What's wrong? Jack Posobiec?
No.
I mean, he's terrible, but you know what I mean.
The woke right. Let's begin there. The woke right is a word that should never be used.
The question. Fire is the answer.
Because it is literally just Nazi. That is all it is. It is a pejorative.
Why don't you use the Puritan right or the religious right?
Yeah, no, far better terms.
Because some of these people aren't religious, though.
I don't care.
Well, Puritan
they're religious
really
rights
word.
In the same way that the left is religion. Same thing, same tactics.
Yep.
But woke, however, refers to a specific political direction.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. So, like, you do have religious right people who are using the tactics of the progressives. That's true. Okay. But again, like, I don't think Jack Posobiec is all that religious, but he nonetheless still uses these tactics.
Sure.
And he's not using them in the service of some religious morality. He's using them in the service of basically right-wing populism.
Okay. What's wrong? Oh, God. So again, so here's another issue, right? Majority of the normal people, when they hear populism, they hear doing things that people actually want their elected leaders to do. And anybody who keeps saying that populism is evil just misses the idea that the messaging is bad on that.
Okay, so this is another argument over terminology again. Like,
correct. Yeah, well, that's my issue, is that you keep throwing out you're anti-populist, and everybody's going to go, why are you against people, getting what they voted for?
Well, one, because that's not strictly what
service guarantees
means.
Citizenship.
And two, because a lot of things that people vote for are fucking stupid.
Okay. That's democracy.
So that's why, yes.
That's democracy, though.
Yeah, okay.
Do you not believe in democracy, Dev?
Not in a hardcore way, no.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you're anti-democracy.
No, only in some ways. Like,
only in some ways.
Yeah, only in some ways. So the reason that I think that American-style democracy with guardrails is good is because the guardrails are just as important as the democracy.
Okay.
Well, no, think about it, right? Like, you should not be able to simply, like, a majority should not be able to vote a minority out of existence, for example. That sounds ridiculous to me. It doesn't matter if people voted on it, because you're still killing a group, right?
Could you vote to remove all of the illegal aliens out of your country?
I said killing specifically. I don't care too much about deportations.
Okay. Now we're getting retarded again.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, that's my issue. Is that we need to stay the content needs to stay within the bounds of actual realistic outcomes.
No, it doesn't. Not if we're talking philosophy. No, it doesn't.
Well, that's because then we go into the absolutism and the extreme cases and hypotheticals that will never happen, and then it defeats the point. Because nobody lives as an absolutist.
Not true. No. Because here's the thing: the hypotheticals are how you define the philosophy, and the philosophy is what guides your reaction to the actual real world.
Yeah, but it isn't our real world. We don't need to go there because we already have the real world. We already know that there isn't going to be an exterminatus mass eradication of people in America.
I know that. That's not what I'm saying, Arch. No. What I'm saying is, okay, like if the blanket question is, well, how much do you value democracy? And I can say, well, you know what? I value democracy enough that I do want votes that are legitimate to be upheld, but I don't value democracy so much that I would want the majority to be able to vote to exterminate a minority, right? So there's two things that are democratic. One I think is good, one I think is bad, and that's how you. So now we can determine. Okay, well, sometimes democracy in this way is good, sometimes democracy in this way is bad. Which is why, Artemis, when you said about 5 minutes ago something like, "Well, you don't really like democracy that much," and it's like, well, hold on, it depends what we are talking about.
Well, here's my issue, right? Because one, we don't really deal with genociding people in the United States. Would make it a lot easier. Realistically, a campaign ran on readdressing the DOJ and building it from the ground up again to be nonpartisan. And then you turn around and go, "That's horrible. We should never do this." And you didn't want people voting for that.
Yes, because when because it's not just rebuilding the DOJ from the ground up. It's rebuilding the DOJ from the ground up with people loyal to Trump specifically.
Yes.
That's bad.
Okay. So that's the issue. From your viewpoint.
Yes, that is the issue. It's bad.
But that's your viewpoint. That's a value system judgment. That's not a factual based argument.
It's the correct value system judgment, in fact.
Where are you basing your morality off of to say that?
You should not be loyal. You should not be loyal to one specific leader. You should be loyal to the Constitution. That is what it means to be an American patriot.
Hold on. If that leader wants you to do something specifically and to show loyalty, you do that for him, or say that you will do that for him, then you will do that too. You will show loyalty in that aspect, which is what he was asking for.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean exactly?
So, for example, when a institution like the EPA or whatever, and Trump wants them to actually follow the Constitution and not overstep their bounds and do all this other shit and persecute people like the ATF does, and he wants people to go into that organization and actually be loyal in that regard to him, then that's what he's asking for, loyalty. That's what the right is thinking when he's demanding loyalty, because he's only going to hire people that think like him. That's what he wants. You're thinking that they want Trump to hire people that are 100% loyal to him, so that way he can destroy the U.S. by being corrupt and taking all the money or whatever.
Fire is the answer.
And, like, killing all of his opponents.
No. So here's the thing, right? You look at you look at what happened on January 6th again. Not the riot, the Eastman scheme, right? And I know that you know about it. So you look at that and you realize that, why is Mike Pence hated? Well, because he was disloyal to Trump. Well, how is he disloyal to Trump? Because he refused to do the illegal thing that he was asked to do. All right. And Trump churns through those DOJ members. And oh my God, the deep state is obstructing Trump. No one's loyal to him. Well, hold on. How come he was churning through these members? Well, because they wouldn't do the illegal thing that he was asked to do. When he chose J.D. Vance, what was one of the main criteria? J.D. Vance comes out and says, you know what? I would actually do that thing that Mike Pence was asked to do. So he is selecting for loyalty over legality.
But wait, Dev. J.D. Vance was also a turncoat traitor who originally was a never Trumper. So which one is it?
He changed for the worst.
Oh, for the worst?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that was inserted into that statement. Okay.
No, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead.
He used to be a never Trumper and was better, and now he has come around and said, you know what? I would, in fact, violate the law for Trump's benefit, and now he's worse. Yes.
Okay.
Hold on, everyone in the chat saying, Dev, it wasn't illegal. Was it really illegal? Do you wish it were illegal? It was illegal. If you read the fucking Eastman memo, he says in it, we are going to violate the Electoral Count Act. The plan is to violate the law. You fucking retards. Read something for fucking once.
Hey, chat, this is a better argument. It's not unconstitutional for what Trump was trying to do. That's the better argument. Because the Constitution...
Well, it was also unconstitutional, but it was illegal.
It was...
And yet nothing of this has anything to do with any topic.
It had to do with the woke right and
No,
the,
it does not have anything to do with the woke right.
Oh, okay.
No, it has nothing to do with the woke right, because the woke right is a terminology that shall not be used.
Okay, I would go with Puritan right, to be honest, because if the degeneracy is the sticking point between the two right factions, then puritanical right should be the statement, because that's where they differ on between degeneracy and purity. And anybody trying to conflate woke right with, that is retarded.
Puritanical right works, yes.
Yes.
So hold on, puritanical right? 'Cause I get it, right? Because
Yes.
you can be a Puritan towards moral codes that aren't just religions. So I understand.
Heresy's the question.
So,
Fire is the answer.
When I said, for example, that Jack Posobiec
Mhm.
was woke right, would you guys call him puritanical right in this regard?
I don't know enough about Jack Posobiec to say either way.
Okay, fair enough.
If I all I see him is he pops up some tweets about the Secret Service from time to time or whatever the fuck, and then that's all I get from him. Like I don't follow him enough to make that decision.
I follow him. He's fucking retarded.
Okay, I'm not gonna take your word for that, but all right, that's fair enough.
Come on, Artemis,
Service
I take your
guarantees
word for
citizenship.
things. Sometimes.
No, yeah, there's that caveat. I was waiting for that one to pop up.
But the thing is, I'm not actually interested in accurately representing their position here.
Service
I
guarantees
actually don't give a
citizenship.
fuck about accurately representing the position of my opposition in that minute, granular a way. And we didn't give a shit about that to the left either, because it's literally impossible. We are then just playing the define me game, and if you cannot define me, you cannot critique me. No, I will simply define the point. So if Jack Posobiec is for censorship, I will argue against that. If not, I'll frankly leave him alone.
That's true. The defining is a tactic that the left kind of demanded, and then they say, "Well, your definition doesn't cover me because I'm different in this small way."
Yes,
So I
so you
can't do
cannot
that.
critique me.
Well, to be fair, Artemis, we just had a giant fucking argument largely over definitions. So
Well, correct, because somebody started throwing out definitions like woke right.
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't start the definition war. Okay.
So
Heresy's the question.
I mean, we all
Fire
know
is
like
the
such as
answer.
law, 90% of disagreements are definition based, and it's like, okay, well,
I didn't know that.
what about substance based then? The remaining 10% actually arguing on substance and not just over what a word means, because
I think 90%
so
of
regardless of woke right or Puritan right or whatever, what the actions, the beliefs of these people, not as you want to define them, Arch, but as they actually are, I think they're bad. I think they should be opposed on that basis.
I think the Puritan right will lose out in about 6 years.
Service
It'll
guarantees
go away just like it
citizenship.
always has. Again, this is just a pendulum swing back. Some people are getting overly enthusiastic, and just like what's that dude's name? Jack Thompson will lose out. It'll be just the same thing over and over again.
You mean the video game GTA 5 guy?
Yeah,
GTA
like I
4?
said,
Yeah.
entertainment will always win out. People's interests will always win out. You're not going to stop porn. So the only one that's getting stopped is Pornhub from the age restrict things, but that's because for some reason they want to.
So this is something that, like, I guess we could just call them anti-liberals, because there's people on the left and people on the right who are like this. There's something that like anti-liberals don't understand is that the reason that market forces are so powerful is because it's just the aggregate of what people tend to want and also what they're buying. And money talks, right? If people, like, it doesn't matter if you have a moral objection to it. If somebody's making more money than you because they're selling something that you might think is obscene or degenerate or whatever, that money means that they now have more power, more access. They have more
Service
ability
guarantees
to produce more
citizenship.
products.
So capital
the
is a
market tends
really
to always win.
Yeah, capital is a really easy way to discover the id of the society at large.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, so it's like if you have someone who's very far left and says, "Hey, you can't sell that product because it's objectifying," and someone who's far right and says, "Hey, you can't sell that product because it's degenerate," what ultimately matters is that people will make their choices, and then those who produce the products that people want the most, they will end up having the most influence for the next round of product creation. And so, despite these moral concerns, the dollar wins out in the end. Now it's not as simple as that. It gets more complicated if you really dig into it. But that's like the basic idea as to why a lot of these things do tend to fall apart. The issue then becomes, okay, let's see if I can parse this here.
You have notes?
When it's like, when we're talking about democracy, all right, votes kind of flow like dollars in a sense, because democracy is where you have several people who are running for position, and so those people and their policies are the product, and then you have people who are buying that product, and those are people who are voting, and so people spend their votes the way that they might spend their dollars in a market. And I think democracy has its successes because it kind of functions like a market mechanism in some regards. But this is why I think that like political parties can sometimes be a problem, because that's when you start to distort market mechanisms. Like if someone is elected to implement policy A, but they're part of a party and the party says, no, you must implement policy B instead, that can be a problem, right? Because now people aren't really getting what they paid for in a sense. And this is, by the way, this is a problem that is just, it's not unique to any one particular party. It happens all the time. The reason why I bring up Jack Posobiec as an example of the woke right is because one of the many examples is that he is on the primary out everyone who is not loyal to Trump train right now. That's kind of been his big thing the past few weeks. And I'm sitting here thinking, hold on. Those people did get elected in, and they've been elected in for several cycles. And now you're trying to browbeat them into doing something that, well, they might not want to do because he's not loyal to your preferred candidate. That is another form of market distortion.
I would say
But is
no.
it a negative market distortion?
Yes.
No.
I would say no.
See,
I would
here's the
say
thing. It is a market distortion, but this is simply one of those arguments of, can we use the tools of the opposition against us? The answer here is yes. The paradigm has been wokeism. People must have abided by it. They must have kissed the ring. Most people in political power must have interacted with it at some point already. And they are loyal to that paradigm. With the shift of a new paradigm, it must enforce its own values upon these people.
And also, because, Dev, I know you don't like populism, I can't even use this argument against you, but I'll use it for chat. The issue is that what Dev describes as Jack Posobiec's actions can be framed in a different way. That Jack Posobiec is showing the constituents of the person they've elected that the elected representative isn't who they purported themselves to be, and are actually part of the issue. And probably the next time an election rolls around, they might get voted out and primaried. So I don't. There's two different ways of framing it, and I think this is why Sitch's arguments are wrong about the 90% rule. I think framing is 90% of all arguments, not the definitions.
So here's the thing, right? What if you have a constituency that legitimately did vote for a Republican, not because he's pro-Trump, but because he's a Republican? In fact, maybe this constituency actually wants an old school neocon like a Mitt Romney type,
and that's who they voted for. Then he won't get voted out in the next primary.
Possible, yes.
Well, no, that's literally what's going to happen.
No. It's only possible. It's only possible because here's the thing. Artemis, do you believe, for example, that money influences politics, and you have no? Oh, really? Okay, fair enough. Then.
Because we just had a fucking election where a person got $1.5 billion and spent all of it and some, and didn't win the election.
Nope, fair enough. Because here's the thing: whenever I talk to people about this conversation, they always say that, like, oh well, dark money kept Bernie out of the seat, or dark money kept whoever out of the seat, whether it was left wing or right wing. It's all about all these corporations are flooding these elections with money, and I'm like, I'm actually not sure if that's entirely true. I think basically, I think Jeb Bush is a great example. There's like an upper limit to how much money can actually help you in an election.
Correct. That's why, just like with somebody trying to say, well, we just need to come up with their own messaging infrastructure and to put out to our constituents or whatever. Like Destiny's trying to create this fucking information network or whatever bullshit idea he has. It doesn't help the fact if reality doesn't agree with you and nobody likes what you have to say. It doesn't matter how much you try to message them if the message itself is something the population doesn't want to accept.
I mean, that's true.
That's what the money is for. Is the money is used to pump the
Get the message
airwaves.
out. Yeah. You know, I understand that. Well, I mean, okay. Now we're talking about just the election, and I mean, I think basically the election, the Democrats lost the election primarily because not because Trump was ridiculously popular, but because Kamala was just ridiculously unpopular.
That was the inverse of the last election. That's not really an argument.
Well, hold on. It is an argument when we're talking about. Okay, hold on, Artemis. What are we talking about exactly?
Well, I mean, the issue is that the inverse happened last election, right? And that he
basically Trump was voted out, not necessarily that Biden was voted in.
Yes, and then now
Yes.
the administration that's coming up was either a continuation of that administration that voted him out, or Trump to go back to what it was in 2017 to 2020, and people voted for that instead. So the issue being is that
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It could be the case. Okay, hold on. Let me think about this.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily the fact that they're voting for a repeat of Trump's first term.
They do.
Because,
That's what they think is going to happen.
well, hold on. Because when I went over the numbers, what I noticed was Trump basically got the same proportion of the vote that he got last time and the time before that. His numbers have remained relatively stable, so he's still pulling in the same people. It's not like they're. Okay, I said relatively. It's gone up slightly.
We are just talking about the election.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Yeah, this is Artemis's fault. I agree, Dev. This is Artemis's fault. I'm still stopping it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. More super chats, Arch.
Yes, you little dumbasses.
Hey, listen. You wanted to bring Artemis in here, Arch.
I know, but you're too defensive. You keep arguing with him. You should just.
You knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen, Arch. You chose this.
So, the conclusion is the woke right doesn't exist. Stop using the term. Just use Puritan instead.
Yep.
You want to call them the Puritan right?
Yes.
Yes, largely.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. How do we differentiate between the Puritan right people? And just hear me out, goddamn.
We don't do.
Trish,
we don't.
How would we differentiate between the Puritan right people who are doing it for religious reasons, like the people involved in Goonergate, or the Puritan right people who are doing this sort of thing for non-religious reasons, but like they're like hardcore MAGA or something?
Okay.
Well, when the hardcore MAGA people start coming from my video games, I'll worry about that. But
that's
I'm
my issue.
in a broader sense.
How would you figure that out?
Video
what's the how do you know what the MAGA people are doing it for in the first place, and how do you separate them from the Puritans?
Well, the people
I would just use their arguments. That's how we define them. What is the MAGA people's argument for censoring my fucking video games?
Yes, I'm not talking about video games, Arch. Goddammit, this is about video
That's
games.
what I care about, because that's culture.
That's
I don't give a shit about everything else. Culture is determined by our entertainment.
Yes.
Okay.
So we start with something we know, and then work our way out from there.
Yeah, like I don't give a shit. Like if Trump is like, "Hey, I'm gonna ruin the DOJ," okay, you can destroy Star Wars? No? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. When you titled the stream, "The Right's Rising Desire to Become the Left 2.0," are you only talking about culture here and not everything else?
I am 98% talking about culture because everything else is irrelevant.
Also, it's just an inflammatory title that he picked to,
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so if we're only talking about culture, then I think the Puritan right works just fine.
There you go. We don't need to get any more granular than that. Lovely.
So there's a famous
I think it doesn't work if we're talking about actual politics stuff.
Fire is the answer.
Okay. What is politics downstream of?
I will in fact quote academic agent here, and I'll say that they're actually downstream from each other.
Oh, did you see that, Arch? He's trying to be weaselly.
He's trying to be weaselly.
This isn't weaselly. This is actually true.
He reaches for destiny.
Yeah. No.
Wait! Shut the fuck up! Wait, I reached for academic agent. Who's the complete and total opposite of destiny.
I don't care, destiny.
Well, you intentionally went around Andrew Breitbart's famous quote of politics is downstream from culture.
Politics is downstream from culture.
I know why you did that.
Well, because in reality, culture is downstream from politics, and politics is downstream from culture.
Oh, well,
That's
you
how
could
it works
have-
in
you can-
reality.
You can have a culture without having a government or really a society.
Yes, of course you can. But when you
Okay,
do
so they're
have
not
a
downstream
government,
from
no,
each other.
when you do have a government, it will affect your culture, and I think it's kind of crazy to think that it's not.
Okay.
That it won't. Of course it will. Of course
it's
it
a
will.
reversism. Like, okay, you have a government that will affect your culture. Okay, how did that government come to pass? Well, it was wished into power by a mighty mogul somewhere. No, it was voted in by the fucking culture.
I'm not. Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that. Okay. Oh my god.
Service
Oh
guarantees
my god.
citizenship.
Listen. Okay. Culture affects politics, and politics affects culture.
Yes,
This is
but
true.
not via the politics of fucking like. Donald Trump doesn't affect culture. He is a part of culture. Like,
Wait,
Fucking George
Donald
W.
Trump absolutely
Bush.
affects culture.
no, he doesn't.
he
He's an
absolutely
element
affects
of culture.
No. Listen. Okay. Do you recall how many people like made their careers off of being the first reply guy to Trump back during his first term on Twitter?
Heresy's the
Like
question.
entire
Fire is the
journalistic
answer.
careers were made by being the guy to reply with the
Yes,
craziest
because
far
of the
left
culture that
on-
already existed. That was them
Yes,
using their
Gamergate.
paradigm against Trump.
Gamergate
Yes,
was
but-
all about that. Like
Yes, but
that
that
was
was-
a constant thing.
Yes, but that was still the politics feeding back into the culture and creating new cultural things.
Dev, that's retarded.
I'm
You're
correct.
you're chicken and egging
No, I'm
here.
completely
you're
correct
chicken
on
and
this.
egging here. It wasn't created because of Trump. Trump was simply an ancillary, and then culture was created. Culture doesn't exist as an isolated piece either. Obviously, everything affects it, but
yes.
to then argue
yes.
that they are somehow equivalent is ridiculous.
I don't think I said they're equivalent.
Well,
but we
yes,
all
no,
hate
they
when
flow
we do
into
this.
each other. That implies equivalence.
Yes. Otherwise, one would be
I don't
overrun
even-
by the other.
Well, I'm not sure if it's even 50-50. I think it just depends on where you are, like time and place.
I think it's
all just
80-20.
very nebulous. I don't think
At
it's that.
best.
No, I don't think it's that uneven.
90 fucking 10.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's that uneven at all.
Dev, tell me, what is the skew of news media in terms of politics?
Nowadays I'm not sure because a lot of those like
What about the
OAN.
tech-
No,
Heresy's the
let me
question.
answer it, Artemis.
Fire
Hold
is
on,
the
hold on.
answer.
When you have like OANN and Newsmax and like these more right-wing outlets coming up and being massively popular, I'm not sure anymore.
Okay, so we're gonna take that as a non-answer. Let's do. What about the tech industry?
Tech seems to be pretty left leaning right now.
you little munchkins. I'm calling it quits to it. Because I have something else I want to talk about instead.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Now that we have defined the opposition as Puritans,
Better. Mark.
what to do with the old enemy is now the more interesting question. Because
I still think they need to
if
be
we
cast
are
out,
now
yeah.
going to be arguing over the 98%, as usual, we now find ourselves in a position where we are arguing for the 50% of the 98% that are wokeists. So what happens to our opposition? Is there forgiveness for the left to defeat the puritanical right? Is there a need for it? Is it required? Should it be done? Should it not be done?
The answer is if they bend the knee.
Which they won't.
Wow,
Heresy's the
that's
question.
actually correct.
Fire
Def.
is
I'm
the
surprised.
answer.
Well, again, to lean back into actual politics again, Arch. This is what has been happening on the left in America ever since October 7th. I mentioned this earlier, where you now have the more institutional Democrats looking at the crazies, the anarchists on the far left, and saying, no, you guys can't be part of our tent. You have to get the fuck out. The crazy far left radicals cannot be the thought leaders of the Democratic Party in the United States. It took them 10 fucking years to realize this, but they have finally realized it and they are better off for it. And so from what I understand, the Democrats are currently going through a massive purge of the radicals. And you know what? Good on them. They should.
The issue being is that the Democratic Party is an amalgamation of disparate, different factions who have competing interests for the most part, and then that's the only way that they won is to get them to rally against Republicans.
I don't think so. I disagree with that.
I think 100% that.
But this is going to be another conversation about the election again, and Arch doesn't want that, so that's not.
Okay, well, so the actual answer to this question is not only to bend the knee, but I highly doubt that they're ever going to do so. And the better one is to keep them out of the wheels of the institutions and government until we've shored them up enough to where it prevents ideological taint from coming back in.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I think actually bending the knee is the unavoidable one. And the first step of making them bend the knee is actually to reinforce the tyranny of neutrality upon the institutions. This is also why I am pro-loyalists, because for the moment, the Trump loyalists have not succeeded in doing anything I find particularly upsetting. We'll see how far they go in the next 4 years. But ideally, they will simply just, reintroduce the tyranny of neutrality. No more diversity hires in government offices.
Not only that, Dev should be thanking us.
Oh yeah? Hold on. If this is going to be another shift into politics, I want to actually talk about gaming for once.
Okay, well, I was going to say that the Trump loyalists and the Trump faction forcing the tariffs, forcing most of Trudeau's government out.
That's not exactly what's happening right now, Artemis. I don't think. Listen, you are massively oversimplifying that story, but that's now a Canadian politics conversation, which is even less interesting for this stream.
Yeah, because you don't care about it at all.
No, I do. In fact, if there's something that is actually bringing the trucker video closer on my radar, it's going to be the fact that Trudeau's government might topple very soon. This is like Trudeau is currently fucked. It's incredible how many ministers are resigning. But anyway.
Back to gaming.
Anyway, when it comes to video games or to these cultural spaces, Arch, when you mentioned muscular liberalism before that you stole from Professor Stephen Hicks,
you stole it from me, and it's authoritarian liberalism now.
When we're talking about muscular liberalism, this idea we do have to kind of return to basically like if you're gonna make a video game. And you want to make it about like put politics in the story. I mean, that can be okay, but you do have to understand that there's multiple sides to the story and to present them all. Like there are some very intelligent games that talk about politics, and then there are some games that just beat you over the fucking head with politics, and no one wants to play the latter, right? So, like if you're playing a mascot platformer like a Mario game or something. There's no reason for this to be an explicitly political game. You're simply appealing to various archetypes that everyone kind of knows deep down, and you're just kind of having a good time with it, and that's fine. It's supposed to be about having a fun time with a good game. For a more serious story like a BioShock or something, clearly BioShock has a political component, but it's actually willing to have the conversation of what those politics mean, and not simply default to I think this is correct, so I'm going to put it in the story, and I'm going to strawman all of my opposition. That's not how BioShock played out. It presented the libertarian side, and it presented the non-libertarian side, and it actually had a conversation between these two sides as the game played out. So, I don't want games to be depoliticized, but I do want them to be smarter than they are.
Well, they need to have a lot of stories that can actually resonate with people, not just preach.
Oh, the bending of the knee will be enforced not through institutions, but through sales and social media.
Yes,
because it's already happening right now.
About to go under.
Yeah, you can't have anything left-wing political, not even the hint of it, not even the slightest hint of it. It will be brought up on social media. You will be the target for all of the commentators. As now that our position has become popular, there's a lot more commentators too. All of a sudden, mysterious.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've noticed that too.
And so the noise goes louder.
Well, here's the thing. There's a bunch of. I think this is part of. We're going back to the Melanie Max and JF Trents. Now, Melanie, you know what? No, I'll take Melanie Mack out of the equation because I know that Melanie Mack is actually a real gamer. You can go back to 2013 and see her doing like gaming reporting at Gamescom and stuff. So she's not a grifter, right? But you get guys like JF Trent. 100% pure grifter. This guy, he's blatant in his grift. He came along because he has political and moral goals outside of gaming.
Service guarantees citizenship.
And he saw that progressives were receiving pushback in this cultural space, so he came in to basically join on the side of the gamers temporarily. But now that the progressives are routed, He's saying, no. We need to start censoring things. We need to start taking boobs out of video games now for my religious reasons. So there's definitely a contingent of these people who are just grifters. They're just showing up. This is why the ranks of anti-woke people are swelling, Arch, because they're doing the enemy of my enemy is my friend thing, and they are going to turn on gamers. They already are turning on gamers.
Yes. But this, I am wondering how far it will go, because already there's been a lot of pushback. As the culture here will be enforced very, very zealously for a year, possibly 2, possibly 3, and then something will change. After having had good entertainment for a while, and that might take a lot more than 3 years to be fair, but then after a while, after having had our Batman, after having had our Superman, then we will look at it and go, okay, I want Dark Superman again. Because that's always the thing. All of this is variety. It's flavor. You don't want the same story repeated forever. And so the window will be opened up for political games again, to say political things and do political things in entertainment. After 5 years of having good guy Batman, I will be more than happy to have a Batman going like, ah, yes, and that's why fascism is bad, children, again. I just hope he mentions communism too this time.
Yeah, this is the subverting your expectations thing, right? And I think we've had this conversation a whole bunch over the past few months, Arch, is that you can actually do a really good subversion of expectations, but when everything is a subversion, when there is no actual solid cultural canon to stand on that you can then subvert every once in a while, everything just becomes meaningless.
You know what? Once they start reversing the trend of taking gingers and turning them into minorities, then I'll start agreeing with the turning it down a notch or two. But until then, every small attempt should be met with the exact same forceful threat of not buying their game.
Hold on, is this because you have like a redhead fetish?
No.
To be fair, gingers were everywhere for a while. Like, seriously, watching like old cartoons, every second female character is probably a redhead.
Yeah.
But
I don't mind. I like
that because
gingers.
there's a lot of like hot actresses at that point in time that were redheads?
I think it was just because it was viewed as exotic, honestly.
I think so too.
It was something unusual.
I thought it was just because there was a lot of hot models and actresses in Hollywood that were redheads naturally.
Possibly.
And then that faded out when they grew too old, and then
I'm not sure.
and then this rest of this stuff started happening.
Because then that leads me on to the next question. Okay, so how do you forgive the left? Make them bend the knee. Fair enough. And then how far is far enough? Because I want to bring this back to like 2016, 14? I don't know. Yeah, for 2014. Jesus Christ. Okay. We're getting in the time machine today, children. For the man who was cancelled for wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
I think this is older than 2014, this guy.
Oh, yeah, no, it's dated 2014, so I'm presuming it's November 2014.
It happened in the same year.
Yeah, so old. But this is kind of like the woke version of your anti-woke radar is too finely tuned. Because this is a guy who wore a dumbass shirt bought to him as a joke by
a woman. Yeah,
by a woman, to just be like, hey, I dare you to wear this on an interview. I was like, no sexist thought behind it, nothing negative behind it whatsoever, just a goofy guy wearing a dumb shirt as a joke. And this guy was fucking ravaged for this. And this is kind of what I fear we might be arriving at as well. When you look at, like, the Witcher character is an interesting one, because the Ciri, she doesn't look that different, but she looks enough different to the point where my gaydar is pinging, you know?
If she looked old and just looked old, it'd be fine. The problem is that they made the jawline, it's noticeably different enough where all the other characters that have had jawline issues all have the same woke issues in their stories.
Yes, and it's that she doesn't look old. She looks just the wrong side of middle-aged. Which makes people see the beauty there, but it's like, did you de-beautify her? It's like, sort of.
So I saw someone do like traces.
I saw that too.
New. Yeah, it looks more like the eyes were changed in the jawline.
Well, the issue being is that they said, "Oh, well, she's skinnier," but the jawline is still the exact same shape, meaning the jaw had to supplement the fat, meaning the jawline had to have expanded to meet the same facial structure.
Possibly.
That
I still
was
want
the
to
thing he
see
missed.
how the game looks when it comes out, though.
Oh, sure, yeah. Here's
Yeah.
the thing, right? You know how remember the original Sonic movie that came out like 2-3 years ago or 4 years ago?
I think it was 2019 at this point.
Yeah. So they freaked out, right? And what happened?
Yep.
They changed it.
Yes.
That's what I want to happen.
And also, they change it for the better too.
Yeah, correct. That's what I want to happen. Every time there's a issue like that, like a small fuck up or like maybe a interpretation that they want to go with, but again, they're thinking that that's good, but the community doesn't want that, and the community is the one who's going to buy your game. Listen to the community.
So here's the thing, right? So let's say that they take the Siri model and they make her a bit more attractive. I don't think she's unattractive or anything, but they make her more attractive. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
It's not the only issue though. I've seen people saying, "Well, I don't want to play as a woman who's angry," and I'm just thinking, hold on a second, a woman who's angry, like.
Okay.
She's angry in these scenes because the story calls for her to be angry in these scenes. It's appropriate for her to be angry, and so she has an angry face. But there's a conflation here between I find this character unattractive and I don't want to play in these scenarios, and these two things are becoming very blurred right now. If they made the Siri model hotter, but it was still the same story, and people still complained, I would think they were being ridiculous.
I don't think so, because humans naturally forgive hot people for a lot of things and treat them better.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, if you have a story, one is objectively better than the other, but the worst story has Red Sonja starring in it, and the other one has some old fucking chick from the DMV, most people will watch the one with Sonja in it.
Yeah, like
saying.
Invincible is a good example of like the fucking annoying girlfriend that everybody fucking hates. Like if they would have made her like hot, I'm pretty sure they would have been a lot less negative towards it.
Yes, but granted, they also rewrote her significantly because the scene that most people objected to. No, I think she did. She was a white girl in the original.
She was the Eve. She was supposed to be Eve, I think.
No. He did have a girlfriend before Atom Eve. I read the comics. Okay. I kind of hated them.
Yeah, the black chick who was actually a white chick before.
Okay, yeah. I thought she was one and the same with Eve. Okay.
Because the biggest thing that people objected to was her unfathomably poor take of him going like, "Hey, I'm a superhero. I save hundreds of people," and she go like, "Yeah, and why don't you care more about me?"
Yeah, it was fucking ridiculous.
I died. Well, some of us had to live with it.
Yes, exactly. Like, that is a whole different level of fucking terrible character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the thing is that like humans naturally will forgive hotter people for their faults. That's just the human bias.
Yes, I know that. I'm not sure how it relates to this exactly.
Because people will complain less about the story if it was a hot chick.
Oh, about her looking angry if she was also angry and hot. Yeah, I got it. But okay, I get it. But at the same time, like the arguments of people saying I don't want to play as an angry chick, those will still be there at least in some level. And I think those people.
Sure.
Service guarantees.
I think there'll be a lot lesser of them. Simply because the internet's ability to fetishize is far stronger than its ability to hate. Which is exemplified by the robot twins from Atomic Heart, for example.
Or to be honest, every single character
or
involved
Bayonetta, or 2B when the people are hating it got on board with it. My biggest issue is that if you take Siri and you mod fucking Geralt in her place, would you see any tangible difference?
In the story? I don't know.
If they treat her like Geralt and there's no difference between them, it's not Siri. That's my main issue.
I mean, I get it, but they've been setting up Siri to basically inherit Geralt's position for the past two games.
Siri is recognizable by almost literally everybody in the existence of that country-esque city-state thing because she is unworldly attractive because of her bloodlines, like unnaturally so. So she would stand out to everybody. Everybody would know who she was at a glance.
I get that. I understand that part of it.
Okay.
But in terms of like Siri becoming the main character of Witcher 4, that makes sense to me.
It does.
It does.
I think
And
people wanted
Service
to do it
guarantees
right.
citizenship.
I think there's the thing too. The objection is girl boss, basically. Because every female character for the last 10 years has been the same female character, the girl boss character. And so I think a lot of people just do not have belief or faith in CD Projekt Red being able to break that.
And basically
do I?
ruin Siri's character and not just make a generic girl boss out of her.
Yeah.
Isn't half of fucking CD Projekt Red currently people who haven't made a game? Or is that Ubisoft?
They've replaced a lot of people. They've grown a lot, and they've hired a lot of people via nepotism, basically. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
we keep going
that
to Super
then
Chats?
is the how
Heresy's
far is
the
far
question.
enough.
Fire
So
is the answer.
basically, do it. Hit them with everything they hit you with, but do be aware that we are currently at the reverse of 2014, and then begin to scale it down if something good actually comes out.
I think
Yeah.
people should speak with their wallets every time they have something come up they don't want.
Yes.
Well, sure, of course. But no, I do think that we will move into basically a new era of right-wing censorship that'll kind of behave the same way that the left one did for the past 10
Well,
years. And we'll have to fight it.
Not
Here's my issue.
Go on first, Armand.
My issue is you're saying right wing censorship. If somebody refuses to buy something because it has something in it that they don't like, is that censorship?
Oh, I don't think that was
No,
the...
but I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay,
talking
well,
about
that's I don't think that's the point.
But that's the issue. Is that's the thing killing the games industry right now. Is there's a ton of shit in games that people don't like, and they're not buying the games, and then the studios are firing a bunch of people.
Here, let me put it this way. In Mass Effect 2, they
Mhm.
took out a lesbian romance because of right-wing backlash to Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of.
Yes.
And once we hit that point, we will have gone too far right.
Yes, because I agree. Because that's the thing. That isn't people not buying it. That is a group growing to the point where it is perceived as influential enough to do damage to the studio, which is then it just becoming the left wing.
Yes. I am going to take the position that if people come out and try to stop people from doing that and to stop the right from doing that, I'm going to take the Deviant position that you guys never should have worried about it in the first place because it didn't end up happening.
That's
That's
not
what I'm
my
gonna do.
position. What the fuck? Okay.
Well,
I'm not
don't worry
getting
about
baited
it.
into some nonsense right now, Artemis.
That's the lockdown.
Because my time is
arguments.
limited tonight. Let's do the super
Good,
chats.
Dev.
That's the lockdown argument that Dev had.
We can do the super chats then.
That's
Baron
not
von
precisely
Stargard.
my lockdown argument. God damn it.
For $1. Dev is so wrong. It is not censor art, or not it is censor some art in some places context. Censorship is a tool, not a principle. The communist whining that you should give him stuff should be censored by being shoved in a locker. That he will say. I say censor close to nothing. That's my position. I would like the market to decide. The only things that should be censored are... Well, the thing is, we actually have a definition for, like, what is it? Oh, God, was it?
Service guarantees citizenship.
Not derogatory, but, like, grotesque, was it?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Obscene? Do you mean?
Obscene, yes, obscene,
content,
thank you.
yeah.
Because that actually has actual definitions, legally speaking, and it is basically something like truly abhorrent. Like, if you bring 10 people into a room and show them this stuff, will they all recoil in horror? Then that's obscene.
But
So
Arch, that's the issue is what obscene thing can you find in video games you can't find in a pride parade?
Well, exactly, and that's why the pride parades are currently losing. So as little censorship as humanly possible would be my position. Wow, Dev gave me $5 on Streamlabs. Thank you, Dev.
Did I?
Yeah.
Good job, Dev. Also,
Dev,
Dev,
to be progressive is to be anti-American. We have to remove these people from our institutions. And like you said, corruption greases the wheel. I prefer to put meritocracy back in play, but we need loyalists to clean out the progressives first. Largely agree.
The loyalists are not going to be loyal to
well,
meritocracy, is the point.
to be fair, Elon Musk is all about meritocracy because he will not hesitate to get rid of somebody who's not good at their job.
We will see.
And even if we have
Service
the
guarantees
Trumpian
citizenship.
stormtroopers, they salute by, waving their hair about or something in that little thing he does.
Mm-hmm.
All of them for 4 years. They are the most oppressive force in government
citizenship.
imaginable. They make all the government agents suffer. And when they leave 4 years later, they're nice and clean. I'll be happy with it. I mean, it's still more gentle than what I would suggest, which is shutter every single governmental agency for, a week, and then slowly start reopening them with completely new people. America would suffer for a while in between, but I don't care. It's America.
Also, Dev.
No, we're doing super chats.
For the money you owe me.
Yes.
I want, of the $250, I want 50 of it to be donated to the inauguration, and $1 to me, and then that's it.
Well, yeah, what about the rest of it?
You can just keep it. I don't care.
Well, you can have it, man. It's fine.
$199 donated to Dev in a bikini on the calendar.
Okay, that'd be Dev donating to his own. I think it would, probably.
Unfortunately, I don't even think so. The lowest one is 444 for Spider Silk, and I think Devon Bikini has not been particularly popular for some weird reason.
Hold on. How do you donate to the inauguration? Like, what does that mean?
You can actually make donations to the celebration thing online.
Okay, sure. Send me the link and I'll do it.
Okay.
Novafan21 on Rumble, not defending misogynists, but they've seen so many women take back consent and argue that, quote, woman cannot consent under patriarchy, unquote, that they only see success through dominating women. I sympathize with the misogynist position, honestly. I very much so do. Quite a few of these people have probably been severely damaged by women in their lives previously. God knows I have as well. Though the problem is, for me, it awoken a fetish, not the other way around, so,
Oh my god.
Listen, Dev. When you get stabbed by a woman for the first time in your life, you'll understand that it's actually kind of funny.
Wait. Actually stabbed with a knife?
Nah, cut more like, but I like saying stabbed because it sounds more severe.
I mean, I've never been cocked, but I have had, a woman treat me poorly.
Well, unless you have scars, Dev, I'm not going to hear it.
So wait. Does this mean that you're actually a cuck and I'm not?
Cut, Dev, you little monkey.
Oh, cut. I heard cucked.
I know.
Like,
that's probably what you hear most of the time, Dev.
No, I've never been stabbed or cut by a woman with a knife. No.
Yeah, it's pretty weak.
Jeez, hold on. What the fuck happened there? You got cut with a knife?
Yeah, the scar on my forehead, that's from a previous relationship.
She just slashed at you?
In essence, yes.
Did you deserve it? That's the question.
I do not think I deserved it.
Okay, yeah, but you dated her, so you made that choice. You deserve that.
Yeah, probably.
Arch is attracted to mental illness, if you didn't know, Dev.
Largely.
I've heard.
Buckyman's bowels. Dev is pointing at the right's realization that its political adversaries want them locked up, dead and destitute, and being fed up with the left entirely as a lost cause, and conservatives' patience has run out, had enough. And that is largely true, but there also lies the problem. Because if you simply go full scorched earth, as the left did, well, then the left will end up in the exact position where they will look at the right and go, hey, you want me locked up, dead, and destitute. And so we just continue spinning the wheel.
Yeah, but the left cannot sympathize with anybody that isn't them. And so they won't learn the lesson unless they themselves experience it. Learn the code, Dev.
Nope. We're not going back to that.
Learn the code.
No. Listen,
great example.
The left is as the right is a big tent with a bunch of different ideas and beliefs in it. I'm not going to accept any sort of blanket statement. No.
So I can pull up some Pew Research Center about the locking people up for not getting the COVID shot, right?
To be fair, I also saw J.K. Rowling the other day on Twitter going like, oh, look, this man is pretending to be a woman for a more lenient sentence in the justice system. Rowling. What are we suggesting here? The Eccentric Ripper, our North Star must be what we lost. What else did we fight for if not to reclaim it? Losing our way, fight and destroy, and not to reclaim is doomed. I agree, yes, exactly. If we wish to win, we cannot simply just go like, okay, what was your objective? I wish to kill everyone that isn't me. Okay, that's not going to be very popular. But if you go, I want to have the 20s back. I want to have the 2000s. I want to have Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I want to have Booth Babes. That is something people can get behind.
I mean, it is. I've heard Sargon's reply to that being you can't actually go back because you will simply put yourself in the same positions and the same arguments against your position from the left will still work and you'll still be pushed leftward. I've heard lots of people say that, in fact. I don't agree with it. I do think that we can actually go back and then kind of steal ourselves in place with some different views on certain things. But that will be the right-wing reply.
Yes, but Sargon is wrong on this one.
Yeah, I think he's wrong on this one too.
Because Sargon's position is that we will still be the people we were. And if we did simply go back in time, that is correct. If we simply just jumped in a time machine and went back to the 2000s, we would still be in the same negative position. The thing is, we now know the arguments against them. When they say that's sexist, I go, I don't care.
Yep.
Sure, but there's also the issue of it always trend towards suspicion and animosity towards the other side from that point on. So it's always going to derive a new problem in the future, but that's just something you would obviously have to contend with when it.
We simply have authoritarian liberalism. I don't care what the argument against the hot chick at the gaming convention is. It is irrelevant. Whether or not she's radioactive, it's irrelevant. We're keeping the hot chicks at the gaming conventions. Even if it is that chick who banged 100 guys. Like, even then I'll be like, yes, just don't breathe in too deep. You'll be fine.
Oh, is this a statement towards Sargon?
What? No,
Are you saying to allow it or to not allow it?
Yeah, to allow it.
Okay, then Sargon would be directly against you on this.
Well, yes, because he's wrong on this one.
So somebody's daughter should bang 100 guys?
No, but that if she is at the gaming convention, I shall still allow it.
Oh,
and yes, I will allow a guy's daughter to bang 100 men as well. I will judge their parents strictly as she does so, but I will allow it.
Okay, what about puberty blockers?
Nope.
Oh man, so hold on. As of the past couple hours, the website sweetbabyinc.com went offline.
Weird. That's because they went under a new name, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did they? What's the new name?
I would have to. They have a higher. It's kind of like an umbrella company. I'd have to go fucking.
Yeah, the weird ghost thing.
I thought it was a different name that they were using, but it was in reference to the Ubisoft shit. So I'd have to go look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I'd be rebranding right about now too.
Correct. You would just have to file. Is it who's the person running it? The change.
Kim Belair's the CEO.
Is it Kim or is it a different dude? I thought it was a dude's name or something.
David Bedard is the COO.
I don't know. Okay, well, regardless, yeah, they just gotta keep track of where they're going for employment, and that's where the company is.
Yep, I'll go see what Kim Belair is doing, I guess.
Mark DeShane on Rumble. It isn't becoming the woke, it is making sure them can't attack us again. Anti-racist LGBTQIM socialists still hold seats of power. Taking back one or two is enough for truce. They, them, broke peace. Absolutely. There is a point where we need to continue pushing, but we also need to make sure that we are not leaving our backs unguarded from the exact same people.
Yeah. But I also don't believe in the how does this affect you personally argument. I think that's a horrendous way for a society to operate, Arch.
Nope. Incorrect.
Okay.
I simply declare what is and is not moral. It's that simple.
Based.
If a girl wants to bang 100 men, go ahead. But Buckymus Buckymus would be the guy with the rose who comes in there to the 100-man gangbang as number 83. You should value yourself more. And so little Rose walks out. There's Fedora.
No, I would not be that type of person. I would just be the person that would just plaster her name and face over every inch of the town she grew up in and wherever she resides at that point.
And that too is your prerogative.
Correct.
Angelos32. But then people say Baldur's Gate 3 is woke, even though it probably is the most fun game I've played in a while, and most people seem to agree. Absolutely. See, there's also the question about degrees and measures and how many drops in the offending party before we need to take actions. As most things that are good, even if there are elements of the woke in them, should still simply just be accepted or ignored, in the same way that things that are bad can also be accepted and ignored if there is a greater freedom in it. Not to mention, you know what? Here's the thing too. I think that chick banging 100 guys and taking on 1,000 men in February, that is a societal good. It benefits us all. She is Jesus on the cross sacrificing her meat curtains for the rest of us. Why?
In what way?
Because other young women are going to look at that and her crying in the bathroom afterwards and think, is an OnlyFans career really the right choice for me?
Yeah, but what if they take away the wrong lesson from that?
Well, shit. Then they're going to be dumb women. What can I say?
So, chat, I'm going to let you know. Give it a year and then try to repeat the thought audit again. Make that go viral.
See, I'm sure a lot of women will just watch the first part of the documentary where she holds up like how much she earned and then go like, yeah! But I do suspect that the majority who make it to the end will not be so inclined.
Yes, but yes, if you snitch on the somebody to the IRS, you get half of whatever they find. By the way, just keep that in mind when you're perusing OnlyFans.
Mr. Luckless for 2,000 Japanese yen. The thing, though, with Outlaw and most female face cams is that they often come out horribly when compared to male face cams who look damn near like one-to-one to recreation. After a while, you notice a pattern. Yeah, and I hate face cams too. I fucking hate them. Like, it's a video game. You can make them as attractive as you goddamn well want, so make them as attractive as you can. Simple.
That's why, what was it? What was the new 2B dev?
You mean the Eve Stellar Blade girl?
Yeah, the Stellar Blade. They only modeled her body. They intentionally did not model her face with 3D scanning for that reason.
Yep, because you're gonna make it hot.
Yep.
Haria 1982. Why shouldn't our principle be to win? See what they have done to Europe, see what they continue to do. Remember London, Manchester, Southport? They cannot be forgiven for this complete and utter malice. Two reasons. One, if you abandon all principles, you will not win, because you will turn the majority against you, as they will view you simply as a principleless villain. And two, in the quest to defeat your enemy, you will become your enemy.
The only way to win, as that's the only outlook you're looking at, and to be victorious, you need to kill off your entire enemy to do so. Otherwise, you're going to have to face the ramifications of winning at all costs.
Well, yes, if you're going to win at all costs, then you do need to wipe out everybody.
Machiavelli was very, very clear about this.
But fortunately, we're not princelings here in the Holy Roman Empire. But yes, if you're going to go full scorched earth, then don't stop until the last leftist has been put up against the wall and you've installed brain monitors in everybody's head.
A single act of cruelty should be the only thing you do in your reign.
Or in this case, just an entire reign of cruelty. Unrepentant, unresolving, unending.
Well, that's what the single act of cruelty is to get rid of all your opponents.
Yes, to kill the family of the defeated princeling, etc.
Yep.
I mean, who hasn't read Machiavelli? Come on.
Yeah, Dev.
Yeah, well, it's been a few years, but...
Vulture 1066. Most writers went woke. Salvatore is an example. Most of them did. Artemis Fowl. Kind of hard to refund a game for being woke if the woke shit starts at a 2-hour mark. Veilguard tried it. Yep, they did.
Yeah, the trans dragonkin thing didn't pop up until well after the threshold to get your fucking refund.
Which is why you don't buy the game at all. You wait until somebody else buys it and then plays it.
But that's my issue with claiming that Baldur's Gate 3 was a success. It's because burning all of the goodwill to get a game out, and then hiding all of the woke shit until after the cutoff for refunds is a good way
guarantees
to
citizenship.
get a game successful one time, and then everybody learns their lesson.
So here's the thing, Artemis. I don't think there is this massive amount of hatred for Baldur's Gate 3 because of this apparent deception. I think people overwhelmingly love the game.
I think Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't in early access forever.
Yes.
Before it was released, and that's why I think it had a huge hate. It's because it was out for so long in early access that people just didn't have the same hate as a one drop fucking Veilguard.
I mean, maybe, but like people still seem to love this game, and it's been over a year later. Like it's a fan favorite for a reason, man.
Okay.
No, it's not just okay. That's the killer point, Artemis. Is like people love this game.
My issue is I don't think people love it nearly as much as you're saying it does. Oh, but maybe the people who like it love it really much, but the people who don't had any interest in fucking a bear probably didn't buy the game or care about it.
All right, that's something you have to prove, I guess.
No, I don't have to prove that.
Okay, fine. You can just make an assertion without proof, and I can just dismiss it without proof.
Yes, that's what I do to you too when you do that.
Well, I just did it to you, but the difference is I can actually prove my assertion. I can point to various reviews. I can point to sales numbers. I can point to posts about it on social media. I can show very easily how popular Baldur's Gate 3 is.
I could like I said, I could point to the fact that sticking woke shit in at after the refund mark is a good way to make a game successful one time. And then it collapses
however,
the theories.
If it were the case that people actually hated Baldur's Gate 3 now for that bait and switch, you would not see the crazy amount of posts about it on social media that you do.
Isn't most
positive posts specifically?
Isn't most of posts on social media generated by like 3% of the population?
Oh my God, Artemis!
Like you're not saying anything that is like proof of anything. That can be used as evidence, but it's not proof.
Okay, fine. It will all be evidence pointing in my direction and not yours.
Okay, well, yes, I can do that. Okay.
You're both children. Alternator for $5. Dev, I am anti-censorship, but I'm pro-fairness. If I can't say that on YouTube, on Twitter, then they shouldn't be able to say cisgender. I prefer both to be allowed, but it's not up to me, and beyond anything, I'm against getting fucked over. Absolutely. There you go. So this is a slur? Well, your words are slurs too now.
Yep, see, my position is always going to be, hey, make them both allowed.
Yeah, but to do that, you have to make them both illegal first. Akaman999. Honestly, I believe they will go with the hidden meaning, similar way Bored Ape put in racist dog whistles in their NFTs Overlord Raising Hell.
I think it's going to be the way that Skullgirls has been going, that Dev has showed us in his video, where they slowly change stuff after a game's already launched.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, apparently Mike Zymont has quietly scored a big win on his case.
What did he get? Discovery?
No, you got some sort of settlement.
Okay, but was it money or did he get his control back?
Let's see.
Well, while you're doing that, Archie, I guess keep going.
Bill Skirnir 3124. Also, Arch, your chat is being very schmitten today. That's gay. Tell chat to be less gay. It's impossible. They're just like this. Marked ashamed. Yes, I acknowledge the war on sex and procreation continues. Every conflict has its spies and traitors from within. That is true. Thrill Zartax. Paul is stupid. Both are right-wing, but they're not the same. This is just a sad attempt at a gotcha talker. Well, I mean, anti-censorship lost in the end. 5% right now. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who think degeneracy is worse than censorship.
I don't think the poll was fair at all, to be honest. One, it didn't define what anti-degeneracy even meant.
Well, you only have so many characters, Buckimus.
Well, that's why you'll see a super chat that asks Dev to fucking define his words and then redo the poll.
Buckimus Bowles, I want you to actually define what you mean by anti-degeneracy, then redo the poll.
Yeah, weird.
No. From Norse, false dichotomy. Both are right wing. The wing means that there are several different positions on the right. It is not one unified movement, just like the left is not unified. Bad dumb dev. Then true.
Yeah, of course. Okay. God. Okay, the dumbest super chats are the ones who just say what I already fucking say, but they misunderstood it.
No, or they're just framing it as you're wrong, and you're framing it as you're right after saying it.
Then true.
Nope, they're retarded.
I'm just glad nobody's donating for fucking Malkavian or Brucia.
How much is for Malkavian right now?
Malkavian is at 80.
And what is this for?
Oh, the Vampire the Masquerade playthrough.
Oh, you're doing
Bloodlines
that?
or
Yes, Bloodlines, of course.
Bloodlines 2 or 1?
1.
Okay, how much for 2 though when it comes out?
if it comes
Chap
out.
hasn't started arguing about that yet.
Okay, we'll see if there's even a choice in vampire selection.
I think there was. They announced the clans, I think. I think they were... I don't even think there were any of the classic clans.
Wow, crazy. Not sticking to the lore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they... Now I need to check, because
Okay, so the case has not been fully ruled on yet. However, Mike Zymont did receive $130,000 in lawyers' fees.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
But
pretty
that's
nice,
that's a clear sign that he's gonna win.
yeah, that's a very clear sign. If they grant lawyers' fees, that's pretty much a slam dunk done.
Yep.
And I was incorrect. They have Brugia and Tremere and Ventry, which are all the classic ones. But then they have Banu Hakim.
Is it a fucking? Is that like an Arabic one?
I guess.
In any case, though, I've got to take off.
You can't do
But
that.
Dev-
Jeff. You gotta stay here.
It's time to go.
I have to
Time for me-
argue more about you being
Time for me
wrong.
to go.
We'll just assume
It's,
he's incorrect.
It's 7 p.m.
Yeah.
and I must vanish. Poof.
See you
Into the
later.
night.
So
Have a good one.
Arch, did you hear that Balatro is rated 18 plus while EA like FIFA
That's
games are
retarded.
rated 3 plus or something?
just real quick.
Pay attention to that.
Just real quick. Chat, I love you, even when you're retarded and wrong all the time. And also, Dry Bread's coming on in 2 days, right, Arch? That's
Yes.
the next guest. Okay, that'll be fun.
Who?
The guy in chat whose name is Mud Dry Bread, and he has
Yeah,
a
no
check
idea.
mark beside his name.
I'm assuming he's political.
No, actually, he's completely not political. He's a Let's Player.
Wow, that's interesting.
He's been
Good
watching
job,
me for a
Arch.
long time, though. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, this is
okay.
a dev situation. I'm the one who roped him in.
Good job, Arch.
Fuck you.
It's his channel. Why don't you? Never mind. I'm not gonna recommend anything.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Have fun.
See you
Yep.
later. I am mildly upset by the clans now, actually, because there were a lot more clans in one.
Yes, they were. Did they have the anti clans like the anti Bruja and the whatever the other ones are?
I don't think so. Oh, yes, that's the one. I took Nosferatu off the list because playing Vampires Nosferatu is a completely different video game.
'Cause everybody's afraid of you and everybody can tell you're a monster.
Yep, so you gotta play the game basically in the sewers. It's great for like a second or third playthrough, but would not recommend.
I like the Malkavian spider screen thing.
I'm happy that people are voting for the more normal ones because the Malkavian, it gives too many spoilers that are weird when you're
Okay.
playing.
It's like a slight horror game almost.
Baron von Stargard, give me a king who claims a fraction of the power that the liberal institutions claim over my life any day. Roman emperors wielded less power over the plebs, and the idea that modern governments don't have arbitrary power of life and death is a fantasy. That's why they've developed stealth helicopters to come to your house.
I think Dev is afraid of Argentina's Millet President Millet.
Millet, yes.
He's shown that you can tear out 90% of the government and it still functions.
Yep. In fact, it functions better.
Correct. That man has gotten fucking inflation down incredibly low for his country.
Yeah, no, I actually, I unironically expect there to be a wave of Millet likes in other nations that will use him as a reference. And I hope that will happen. Adam Unfriended, you can't be anti-degeneracy and anti-censorship as they contradict each other. Classic liberalism, libertarianism aren't right-wing or left-wing. They have their own systems compared to the regular political spectrum. Yes, it's just that they haven't been able to actually enforce and articulate them effectively. Limp-wristed. Well, it's assumed everybody else would enter into the discussion with good faith, basically, and they didn't.
Who was this?
Adam Unfriended.
Oh, okay.
The real Zartax. Of course it can be both. You're being highly disingenuous. There's no the right wing. They are both right wing, but not the same people. Talker.
Usually people have a mixture of values between weighing censorship and weighing degeneracy. On what
varying definitions of degeneracy.
Correct. That was
Heresy's
one of my
the
biggest
question.
issues. That
Fire
that was
is
a
the
trap
answer.
statement. Because everybody's interpretation of what is degeneracy is going to vary so widely. Like, it was a non-useful statement.
Reverend Norse, define degeneracy, Dev. We all do so differently. Okay. Degeneracy is a picture of Dev in a bikini that's too small for him, so you can see everything. There you go.
All right, so I'm not anti-censorship then.
You would...
Ban it.
That's terrible. So if I were to, wait, I just got here. Dev is already lying. He says he's in pursuit of truth, but never put out the trucker video. Ninoa. It's because he is gay. He is also gay whilst he is pursuing truth.
I think that a lot of people supplement their opinions as truths a lot.
And also, Dev approves of constant government overreach of the Democrats, constantly going to bat for the Democrats, but then he has a full TTS whenever he thinks Trump will do something constitutional. Anyway. It's not that he's going to bat for the Democrats, because he was mostly an anti-left-wing person for the majority of his YouTube career. It's just that he really hates Trump, and he is absolutely convinced that Trump will absolutely be the worst kind of dictator imaginable.
Yeah, and when it inevitably doesn't happen... He's going to have to find he's going to drop back to J6, and then that's it. He's going to float around that date forever.
Baron wants Stargard. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that Dev is right about Elon. I don't care. Tilting the censorship in another direction increases overall freedom on the internet as a whole. Vladiana Milze. Yeah, no, I largely agree. Like, okay, let's say he's a hardcore... He's censoring all the left-wingers. Cool. One site out of, like, 3 or 4 major social media is pro-right.
So,
I'll take it.
Pew Research did a actual poll on this. It's 48% Democratic and 47% Republican on X at this time.
Oh, then why didn't you send that to me, huh?
I put in live links, and I said, hey, Arch, it's right there. Look, it's right there.
I can't see that.
You can't see live links, channel?
No, I see. I would have seen it if you'd messaged me to me.
Fucking.
But you didn't.
That's the point of the channel. The whole point of the channel is to put stuff there.
Yeah, but that's not how that works when I'm busy with other things.
Okay, well, that's not my fault.
I don't know about that.
You're like kids. You can only do 2 things at once.
I'm almost a little bit surprised that nobody decided to put Kibbs on the calendar.
I am also surprised.
I mean, Black 1917 was in here, and he dropped money for like 2 characters. I'm genuinely surprised that he wouldn't just like combine all of it into one Kibbs. And he's like, heh.
I'm surprised Brony Kibbs isn't forced onto that calendar.
Ah, Merith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then again, you probably would have to. Never mind.
Artemis Fowl. Only Canadians deal in absolutes.
That is correct.
It's got the kill. To Dev, you need to distinguish between the religious and secular right wing. You have more than 1 brigade in an army.
Service guarantees
Puritans,
citizenship.
Sujar, Dev, you bad faith cuck with a weird little slash over it. Right wing means minimize government and maximize personal freedom, self-reliance and personal responsibility / accountability. These are diametrically opposed to leftism. Well, I wish that was what it meant.
I just like the fact that the Democratic Party tried to establish a fucking censorship organization or a committee of censorship for online.
I mean, every government is trying to do it. I'm pretty sure the EU has actually created it.
Yes, but it was like the like some type of fact checking like Ministry of Truth bullshit.
Oh yeah, the fact checky thing. I remember that one.
Yeah, and it's like Dev's like, well, yeah, the government, the Republicans want to add to the government. It's like, well, no, we know which side's trying to constantly add fucking government departments, and it's not the right.
MJ Ball 515. Was Melanie Mac asking for censorship or just asking for room in the market between world codification and stripperific? Definitely a little bit on the censorship-y side there, in my opinion. Reverend Norse. Dev, the secular right do not define degeneracy the same as the religious. This is obvious. Yet they are both right-wing, you muppet. Like the define censorship, different because many religions are for blasphemy laws. Ventru. I am mildly shocked that, like, Ventru. Okay, I get why Ventru, because, I mean, look at me, I am obviously Ventru, but they are also, like, the single most, like, vanilla option.
The Banu thirst for other vampires. They're just Damphirs. Is that what's going on?
Oh, fucking hell.
That's awful. I'm just reading it from your fucking screen.
Banu Hakim.
Yeah, they thirst for the blood of other vampires.
Oh, the Toreador. I remember the Toreador too.
Those are the ones that are human-like?
No, they're the ones who are gay. Like, really gay.
Yeah, I thought those were the... Which one was the one that Dev played in your Wings of...
I think that was the Toreador, yeah.
Yeah, so they're the most human-like. They can pretend to be human for a period of time.
Yeah, and they're gay. I don't like them.
Okay.
Their male character is a Latinx-looking dude in a silk shirt, buttoned all the way up.
Interesting.
Disturbing people, I tell you.
Arch is a Malkavian because he already knows what the game is for Bloodlines 1. He already knows everything.
Sort of, yes. Artemis Fowl. I can't destroy Dev's entire argument easily. I can destroy it. Well, you didn't, though.
I did destroy it. I came in here. He started arguing heavily because he knows he was losing.
Mark Shame. Us, we just want to grill. They, them. Okay, go grill then. Us, we can't. You tipped it over and burned our house down. Are you going to buy us a new house? They, them. Are you going to pay? No.
B-chat. Dev is a free speech maximalist until it interferes with laws. And then Dev is a institutional cuck. So anything that's illegal, he'll say is not censorship. And so when you just ban it, when you make everything illegal in terms of voicing your opinion, then it's not censorship.
Baron Stargard. The hypothetical state of affairs where Elon, as himself, is using the boot label Elon Musk's boot to stomp on my face is preferable to a nameless corporation pissing on me and telling me it's raining and getting offended that I don't thank them. Vladiana. Yeah, no, largely. It's like, okay, is he going to use the system for his own benefits? Probably.
Yes.
What is that
obviously.
benefit? Going to Mars? Oh, okay.
Yeah, unironically, when he compared fucking Nancy Pelosi, who made $200 million off of stock trading, not $1 million or a little bit more than that, $200 million off of stock trading. Yeah, that's she hasn't done anything useful to society other than to take money from it
and give it to herself.
Correct, to enrich herself.
Whereas Musk has at least done something that can objectively be seen as a betterment of society.
Yeah, he started companies that became wildly successful.
He has employed people.
Yeah, he knows how to make things work and improve things. Nancy Pelosi only knows how to be a leech.
Monk to shame. Marxist. All right, bigots, you win. You can have the White House and Congress. For now, we get to keep Europe and our blue states and institutions, right? No.
Zontar, I'm gonna let you in a secret. A lot of contracts with the government are probably illegal, but they're allowed because they're absolutely necessary for the government to function. So the government won't do anything about those contracts.
Noah Sprague Studios. As a Christian, I say push back on those who basically take the right for everyone to choose. If it is right or left, we can't deny people make choices, even if it could cause damage to the person. Correct. If anything, the damage caused to them will then be held up as an example for why you should not do that thing. The Holznader, I'm definitely more anti-censorship, but to give the devil his due, what happens with just a bit of chaos worship, Arch? Well, when chaos becomes a thing, I'll reconsider my position.
Yeah. But SpaceX is entirely necessary, Zontar. We were relying on Russian fucking rockets to get shit up to the space station. It was completely necessary to break free of foreign control over our fucking rocket program. Or space program.
Do they consider the Atari porn games bad? Because that just pixels on a screen. Yes, because it communicates degeneracy.
Oh, yeah.
And as an example of anti-degeneracy, again, when that chick banged 100 dudes, then Rima, another female, went like, I want to go and shame her the next time she bangs 1,000 dudes. Like, good, see? My position. Ismail Thompson. We should be promoting the anti-lame position. You can be gay, just not lame and gay. You can be a religious, just not lame and religious. Also, Americans have beliefs similar to the political system, a Frankenstein amalgamation of ideologies. Yeah, you can be gay, just don't be a faggot about it. Simple.
Yep.
Philosophy 3. Don't forget the economic divide, subsidies, taxation, regulation. Many on the right are deeply divided on this more and more. No taxation.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Sketch. I understand banning porn from public social media. You can't have that stuff in spaces where minors can easily get to it. I think we should ban minors first.
Yeah, I don't know if you understand this, but in America, you cannot be naked in your own home if it's visible from the street. So it doesn't even matter if it's in public. You can't even be like nude in private if it's visible from the outside.
Well, if it's visible from the outside, are you nude in private or are you nude in public but with a window?
So a woman was showering in her bathroom window, which is like higher up the ground. Some two boys climbed the tree and looked down into the bathroom to see her naked. And then they told like somebody, and then she got in trouble for it because she didn't have the blinds down.
Well, that's probably just a woman being a whore. So, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
She did that on purpose.
For sure. I whatever. See, the girl that's next door thing is no longer allowed.
Vulture 1066. Can we be moral and abuse Wixen as toys? Pump. Yes. But depends on the species and their intelligence. And by Wixens, I'm presuming you mean female dogs, of course. Artemis Fowl, free speech, absolutist, and being anti-censorship are not the same thing, Dev.
Correct.
I don't know.
We can easily understand this because we all want, things to happen to maps.
Hiro-san Ichiban, $1 just to say Dev is a fucker and I'm not watching. And when Dev says, but you don't still, I don't 50 when you aren't here because you aren't here. Fuck off, you lying narcissist. Mean. So if I were to Dev, the woke right are Christ cucks, like Melanie Mack and Matt Walsh, because the religious right was the original SJWs. They aren't on the gamer's side, not as censorious as the left. Anyway. Well, yeah, like the left didn't emerge out of nowhere. They didn't learn their tactics from nowhere. Part of it was Gramsci, obviously. But a big part of it, too, was the satanic panic and everything that came out of that. The playbook has been used before and will be used again. The Blood Hawk. Small government institutions are good. The smaller it is, the more it can focus on us. As an American, the state should have more power. The states. There you go, yes. I was starting to wonder.
Yeah, abolish the federal education department. Get rid of it.
Federal Horsenator, the university is the liberal institution, and not only do the leftists rot take over it, it started there. Yes. Kiddo says hello. Hello. It's been over 7 months. Thank you. Real Zartax, loyalty to your leader is literally the most important factor in an organization. Without loyal people, you can't implement any of her policies. Talker. And yes, if you were in a situation where you could reasonably expect your orders to be instituted regardless of the political leaning of the person, actually pulling the lever, then sure, you should hire based on merit. Trump is not that leader. He cannot rely on the loyalty of some random bureaucrat.
Yep.
Ben, Arch, I spent $81 30 days prior to DC 16. And Clive. There you go. Finally, chat is funding something that isn't more ponies. Good.
How many Hearts of Iron games do you owe for ponies?
Only one more, and they're halfway through funding Nightmare Moon.
Oh, God.
And they're currently working on Old World Blues Enclave, which I'm kind of happy for, instead of more ponies.
You know that the last patrol is pretty interesting because you have to fight Texas too, but you start off with the aircraft.
Well, my chat doesn't even know what the last patrol is, so
Right
I don't
next
need
to
to worry
the
about
Unchained
that.
Crier.
And the chain, I did the chain choir.
Yeah, but it's right next to them. Just the first people you fight as the
yeah,
Chain
but you just
Choir.
eat them. It's fine.
Yeah, but
Just eat them. It's easy.
yeah.
Pakistani national people put too much faith in elongated muskrat. Listen, he's better than the alternative, so we'll put faith in him whilst we have to. I'm just glad the chat. See, we've played most of the Pony Nations now. I guess.
Heresy's
what would
the
they have
question.
left?
Fire is the answer.
Democratic Equestria, that would suck.
Stalingrad.
Stalingrad, that would suck, yeah. Or the
Even-
undead necromancer ponies. That would suck, because with them, your objective is actually to conquer the entire world.
Have you played one of the desert ones in like the southern part of the map?
No,
Sure.
I don't know how many of them have actually stories.
They have very few of them have stories, but I think one of them's like Egypt or whatever.
Yes, Mare Egypt or something.
Yeah,
Or Colthage.
I think those two have a pretty good tree on them.
Or the bat ponies, who only stand a chance if Nightmare Moon decides to become
Heresy's the
boss in
question.
Equestria, which he
Fire
never
is
does.
the answer.
Or the fucking trap of trying to get them to be a fucking battalion or whatever under Green Chrysalis. That shit was so funny.
But you had to try. You had to try.
You did everything wrong.
I did.
Everything wrong.
I did. But now I know. Midrail, then be left behind, commie, as we go to the stars. Humanity just leaves Dev.
Yes, Dev will be dragged, kicking and screaming to the correct side, whether he wants to or not.
Reverend Norse, Dev equates Pelosi and Musk. Dev is legit insane. Yeah.
But remember, just because you compare two things doesn't mean he's saying they're equal. He's just saying there's similar traits to them. I hate that so much.
Brandon, $20 for all world blues. Thank you. Less ponies. Less ponies. Good. I enjoy the Hearts of Iron mod, but when we were working on the third pony campaign in a row,
How much money is the campaigns?
500.
Okay, you're gonna do a lot more pony campaigns then.
I'm sure Chad is getting bored of it. The Nightmare Moon is only halfway funded despite being up for like 6 months. So
That's fine. I'm not bored of it because I don't watch them, so I'll probably donate for them.
no, you don't, little Bucky. Bucky promises a big game, but I know you, Bucky. You're just trying to tease
but
me. Bad to
But
Bucky.
I can make Dev pay for it.
That's true. Spoofers for $20, or £20 actually. Dev, the executive of any party in any nation should be loyalists. Otherwise, what you get is bloat, fraud, and delay. A loyal executive is a strong executive, and that is the point. Trixie and Starlight Glimmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why would you want a fifth column in your government?
Yeah. No, why would you want illoyal elements? But Dev's position is that if they're too loyal to Trump, then Trump will do something evil, and they'll go along with it. So the assumption is Trump will be Hitler. I don't think he will be.
Trump wants to be liked by everybody. He has every incentive to not be insane.
Starlight Glimmer, the great and powerful Trixie. I need to go find a pony artist.
You might go with MacArthur for Old World Blues. That might be a good one. That's an enclave.
It's an enclave mod that they're telling me to play now.
Oh.
Which is apparently a proper enclave, whilst McCarthy's like pseudo kind of enclave.
Yeah.
Nugget Keeper. 90s and 2000s out of ancient Greece, what presents is the beginning of Renaissance. But right after Renaissance comes schism, and that's good. Seeds of creativity need to be trampled before they can sprout.
I think there's too much immigration from the Middle East to ever go back to the 90s and 2000s.
I don't know. Surely we can teach them.
Or send them back.
That's what a lot of people keep forgetting about Lincoln. The fact that he wasn't really for slaves' right to begin with, but he was for sending them back to Africa.
Yeah, he only released them so they would cause havoc in the South.
Well, he only changed his position of sending them back to Africa when they started cheering for him in huge numbers, and he kind of started thinking to himself, wow, a voting bloc.
Voting day. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like today with all these people from the Southern Americas.
Yep, and Lincoln's decision to not send the slaves back is the reason why the Democrats are still a party today.
Also, anytime Dev tries to pull up Reagan as an argument, he fails to understand that MAGA doesn't give a shit about Reagan. They view him as a failure of a president because he gave amnesty to like 1.4 million illegal Mexicans.
On the Baldur's Gate 3 example, the question shouldn't be, can a woke product be good? The question should be, does wokeness improve Baldur's Gate 3? And the answer is no. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it too. Wyatt, Dev is such a self-absorbed cuck, he assumes everyone is out for themselves, like it is humanity's natural state. Average atheist.
Except for the institutions, they're not out for themselves for some reason.
Yeah, they're out for the betterment of all mankind.
Yeah.
See, sometimes human can be better, but okay. We're going to start a new Project Zomboid server in the new year. It'll be me, Lum, Rima, Dev, probably, for shits and giggles. I don't know who else. Maybe you'll open it pseudo to people. But I want a couple more people for it.
Mm-hmm. And
then you will see people working together. Except for me, who will build his own storehouse. Everyone else will build up a communal storehouse. Arch will have his own.
Are you gonna build it up while everybody else is asleep?
No. We'll do sessions like once a week sessions.
I know you do that from time to time, where you like everybody else is like off like doing work or something, and you're like in there just building stuff up because you really want to be really prepared for whatever you're trying to do.
Get Kibz on? We can't have Kibz on. Kibz is not a social creature. Silly chat. Spoopers, I'm an absolutist for free speech, says the slurs. Call fire, beg for violence, disagree or not. Anything else is censorship. Yes, even hate speech, as it is a known tool of the Soviet regime. Trixie and Starlight Glimmer again. I am glad we have Trixie and Starlight Glimmer, best ponies, on the calendar.
Is Tally still on the calendar?
Oh yeah, she's fine.
How far up?
She's pretty far up. Where is Tali now? Starlight Glimmer, Lumi, Applejack, Morgan. Tali's order 511. So she still has like 4 people underneath her.
Nice.
Yeah, Tali's fine.
For now.
She has been out-donated by Mrs. Graves, mum and son, cucking Ashley, though.
What's the cutoff for the calendar?
The 23rd. I'll probably do a long stream on the 23rd to give everybody a chance to push their perversions.
Okay. Because I want Tally to fail in just more than just Kidz' campaign. Yeah.
That would at least be like 200 at this point, so I think it's unrealistic.
Oh no, $200. Oof.
Unrealistic.
Okay.
And then YouTube scrolled again. But El Zartax, Trump never incited a riot. He told people to peacefully protest. Biden literally said it was time to put Trump in a bullseye. Talker. Yeah, but you see, when Trump was saying it, he meant something else. And when Biden was saying it, he meant something else.
Yes, when we fight like hell, when everybody, including Maxine Waters, is using it. It was rhetorical campaigning. But when Trump uses the same rhetorical campaigning stuff, he meant it. It was actually a call for violence somehow. Yep.
Zedifywater. Also, Dev, you remember when Obama purged the upper ranks with military and replaced with left-wingers to make the military loyal to the left, and then they straight up lied to Trump? They did do that. Paramount Starguard. James Lindsay is a sophist, pining for that one point in history where he had maximum unquestioned moral and cultural authority in the days before liberalism began to destroy itself as a result of its innate contradictions. Vladimir Milze. And Paramount Starguard again. A healthy civilization can have all of this stuff, it's just a question of priorities. The anti-goon squad is shooting themselves in the foot by diving into the closets to look for skeletons. But its civilization needs direction. Liberalism offers none. Well, I think it does, but it needs to have the balls to stand up for its own morality. That's the problem.
The issue is that liberalism is anti-human for the most part. Humans crave authority and direction.
Yeah, which is why we must impose upon them the tyranny of authority. Yeah, authoritarian liberalism. That's the solution to all of our problems.
So it requires institutions made up by
me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Why don't you speak king at that point?
Yeah, no, exactly. All we just need is a dictator.
Yeah.
Listen, I am more and more. I am warming to the idea of just subjugating ourselves to an AI programmed with absolute authoritarian liberalism. There you go.
Aren't you one of the proponents that AI will do something really absurd and out of pocket?
Nah, only if we don't think of it first. We just got to plan for every eventuality.
Like the maximizing value.
Yeah. You know, we put the AI in a virtual environment and we tell it that it has real powers and we see what it does like 2,000 times so we can figure out most of the, really bad scenarios.
Just 2,000 times? Jesus Christ, you're fucking optimistic.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure out the message by then.
Didn't ChatGPT now is smart enough to hide itself from being deleted?
I think that was mostly nonsense.
I don't know. That shit was funny.
Ben, eye for an eye was all equal justice under the law.
It was.
The collector.
Hammurabi.
Dev is only crying about what about free speech, huh? And about the right doing what the left did against them and complaining that his side lost. Well, the problem is he needs to understand that we do have to do some of the things they did to us because otherwise we cannot roll back the things they did to us. The left has enshrined a lot of their shit into actual law, like hate speech across Europe. And the only way we can deal with that is by going in authoritatively and going, no, this is a dumb law. I'm going to remove it.
Correct. There needs to be a reckoning. You can't have forgiveness without atonement.
Sinister Coleman. Woke right is a failed beat stick for anyone Lindsay doesn't agree with. Yes, it's a terrible term. Ariman. The left can be forgiven, but only after they have repented and paid back their debt to society. Purge the tradcuck, as they are as bad also. Jeffra Mendicai, in admitting his status position, is Dev revealing the trucker video will never come because of political inconvenience, just personal ideology. Yeah, it'll come someday, I'm sure. Maybe.
After the third or fourth Trump video.
Did he ever give you Halo?
No.
Really?
I keep reminding him every time I pop into one of his chats, live chats.
Damn, that was a long time ago now.
I know. They might be moving soon again or whatever. So,
See, chat, at least I give you stuff. I know, the Witcher 3 thing is still a bit delayed, but I'm working on the art for it, okay? Just take a while. Sajad, Dev, you continue to associate Christianity with right wing. You can be Christian, atheist, etc., and be right wing. Religion is not a prerequisite.
maybe Christian and communist.
Yep, Christian communists are a thing. The Real Zartex, alright, the streamers convinced me Dev is a bad faith actor with a victim complex. Even Arch is calling him out now. You obviously care. Slash talker. Yeah, I don't know what he was on about there. It's like, I don't care about any of this. Well...
He's bad at optics battles. So it's really,
Yeah,
it's really easy to make him look bad just by having him argue his point.
I think that was Dev attempting to assume the Mr. Metacore position, but not understanding the finesse required for it.
Correct. You have to earn that.
Mark shame. If I was to pin the blame on the woke insanity, it would be on the Fourth Estate, as they them saw it as a means to rule, since the first, second, and third aren't in power anymore. As if I were to actually, Bucky and Archley, the Civil War in America proves you wrong. Look at what Lincoln did, and since he won, they whitewashed all the bad stuff he did. You literally have a loser's mentality. And chat, in case you don't know, libertarianism, conservatism, and leftism, communism, are three different points on the political triangle and are all mutually exclusive and value different things. Ninua. Yeah, to an extent. Like fascists and communists agree on a lot of things.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where we're wrong on the Civil War aspect, though.
Well, I guess the
Trump Civil War thing?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I will start God. Also laughing at an idiot who helps to create the environment which got him stabbed, whose girlfriend used his corpse to raise money, is not the same as laughing at a fireman who was caught in the crossfire. No, but it is similar. Like, it's the same overarching principle. Like, you can argue that one is funny, and you could make a decent argument for it, but you're still laughing at a dead guy.
Yes, the issue is that we instinctively know that there's a difference between them.
Sure.
And
but
the argument is that some people are trying to claim that there is no difference between them.
I don't know if we instinctually understand the difference. I think we who are in the political spectrum do, and I think the left would say the opposite. They would see the funniness in making fun of the firefighter and not in making fun of the guy who was beaten to death. And it's the normies we need to convince with it.
Left-wing people have to have a lot of cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics into their own indoctrination. Whereas normal people who are not politically indoctrinated can understand that it's a tragedy that a firefighter got shot.
Possibly, but I think they would also say initially that it's a tragedy that a dude was beaten to death on the street.
Yes. And then the second part is what they said was, what was his background? And the only difference is that somebody was gloating that they don't care that any Trumples die and that they wouldn't shed a tear and they would laugh at them. Whereas everybody goes, well, the guy that got stabbed, he was helping bring about his own demise by supporting something that was bringing in dangerous people.
There is at the very least an irony inherent in it, yes.
Heresy's the question.
That's
Fire is the answer.
The guy that got shot was just standing there. He didn't contribute to bringing about his own demise. It was brought down upon him by outside force.
Hold on. The real Zartax. All I want for Christmas is an Anbanar playthrough. Actually, you are in luck, because that will be exactly the kind of long stuff I want a player to give everyone a chance to finish up the calendar, and so the Anbanar playthrough thumbnail thingy is actually finished. I just need to put a background on it. as we have our cheeky little vampire girl, who shall be the mascot for our vampire playthrough of Anbanar. So don't worry, Zartax, I promised I'd do it, and I will do it. I feel bad for the guy who keeps asking me for star sectors. I still haven't bothered learning that game yet, but soon, eventually.
Mm-hmm. Also, the Pelosi's husband thing was just so wacky that nobody could believe it, and that's why they were making fun of it. Because of the cop videos of him in his underwear holding a hammer, wrestling with it from some whacked out weed dude.
Justin T. As a Canadian, I must apologize for Dev being among the worst examples of Canadian outside Trudeau. Sajad, Dev, when you make something against the left, you are helping the right automatically. You don't exist in a vacuum, you twot. I did need to explain that to him, yes. Don PTX, I remember Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Were called Satanic Right-Wing Extreme. Isn't against censorship, it is censorship using morality or worse, God, in order to infringe on your free will because it is correct. Yes, the use of morality as a stick to impose yourself upon others. Reverend Norse, the right wing is a bigger tank than liberalism. Yep, way too many bad people there. Dev is a neolib, not a classical American liberal, says Galaxy Dragoon.
Yep, he's also a more closer to a neocon than MAGA people are, which is funny.
Weird squiggly drawing Marcus. Take halal Aussie money. Thank you. Carl Anderson. Lies Dev. My friend and the National Guard lost his job because he wouldn't take the jab due to Biden's orders.
Yep,
that
was ruled unconstitutional as well.
Ah, yeah. Holsnader, what percentage of the military voted for Trump? 100?
It was like 60%. The officer corps is left-leaning, but the enlisted is like majority right-leaning.
Your army is 40% officers. You have a problem.
I'm counting the higher-end NCOs as well. Because they don't get that high unless they are sipping the Kool-Aid.
Or Ponderer, Dev, please explain how my lefty employer or governor has no institutional power because it wasn't Biden directly doing it. I mean, I guess he's just arguing that there is a degree of insulation between the two, I guess.
Which is funny because they all have the same political structure that they all interact with.
Mark to shame. A good game without cake. Sins of a Solar Empire 2. It is a very good game, yes.
Yep.
And Mark to shame. Cheesecake isn't necessary for a good game. Just need bitter people to quit stomping on it. Smashed cake is ugly and disgusting.
I like Homeworld 3.
Homeworld 3 was ugly and disgusting. It is true. Much shamed. On degeneracy, liking a tomboy isn't gay. Effeminate isn't pro-lesbian, neither are queer. Take back language. Gay is happy, queer is weird. Not the perverted definition. Make pride, hide in shame. I would like to go back and retake our language, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it should be illegal to use political debater language in public. People should talk like normal people.
What the fuck? How do we call in? I don't know.
I just showed up.
Oh, Buckymus is what is Buckymus? What is Buckymus?
What am I?
What is Buckymus? It's a good question, actually. I don't know.
Everybody asks what is Buckymus. Nobody asks how is Buckymus.
Yeah, but that's probably for the better. Stephen Morris, all executive officers serve at the whim of the president. Period. End of story. Shut up, Dev. More weird squiggles. What's Dev's dowry? Does Arch take money or livestock? Both. Zonta, Artemis, thinking Vivek would have ever been on the 20-long short list of possible Trump replacements, shows he's too terminally online and detached.
People make different choices when the person they liked got shot. They start thinking everybody else who was up running next was probably also in on it.
There's a lots of doppelganger. For fuck's sake, the commie meme is just to piss you off, Dev. Well.
It's funny.
Ben, side with Tim Pool. James Lindsay is the woke right. More weird squiggles. Pro-wife jack, neo-tribalist right will win. I do think so, yes. Pro-wife jack will win. Almost certainly. Neo-tribalist right. Neo-tribalist liberal right. So it's a bit too much of a mouthful. I think just authoritarian liberal is good. Blank, who the fuck is advocating to vote for mass murder? Dev is. No one. Is Dev starting to realize that individual and property rights are good and voting is evil? What comes next? Monarchist, Dev? It'll be fun to do monarchism a little bit.
So, chat, you're going to watch Dev say that the institutions are corrupt once Trump gets done fixing them? So, like, you'll agree with us eventually.
Blank. Do not let Dev see a cent of the Superchats, please. I don't pay Dev. Dev works for free.
He does it for free.
Yeah. Martin Sandor Eskilsson. These Dev and Artemis debate discussions are great entertainment. I am driving across Sweden.
That's unfortunate for you.
Yep, that's pretty too bad. Try not to get mugged.
Yeah, why are you in Sweden?
Reverend Norse, a puritanical right don't work because Lindsay, Constantine, and Dev call the non-religious but also the non-liberal right woke right. Use this term, then true.
Well, that's because they want to thumb people in the eye. That's all they're doing.
Yes, it's become a curse word, which isn't really.
Yeah, it means bad
effective.
people.
Why Hayden? They proved if we don't use their tactics, we lose. We can talk about the tactics used afterwards. They started it. Yep, largely agree. No one's been known for 10 months. Thank you very much, sir. How about just authoritarian right? The Conservative have been proposing censorship via the DSA and spying on private messages before the left. Because I want to reclaim the word authoritarian for my own movement. That's why. Storhacks 1. The woke right is an appropriate term. Dave Rubin literally used the language that he has woken up to a certain power structures on Piers Morgan.
And that's because Rubin is probably a grifter.
Delixious. Here to make sure they wound come back to argue at some points. If they do, send them Swedish rotten fish in cans. Surströmming. It's quite the thing.
Cringe. Awful.
Tobin Russell. I see this people who never actually cared about what they were saying, just using the movement as a Trojan horse. Many such cases, unfortunately. And
their
Tobin
vote
Russell.
still counted just as much.
Yep. But I am not concerned because I don't think they have the ability to steer the movement because the right is not susceptible to their bullshit like the left was to identity politics and socialism. I don't know about that. I think the right is very susceptible to God. Is that God?
I
hope not.
I don't really think so.
Do you not believe in God, Buckymus?
Oh, well, I do. He wouldn't have sent me down here to punish everybody.
Noah Carter, let me lay my own cards on the table as a gay furry who has worked in the corn industry. There's a mouthful. The left has drifted away too far and needs to be told to stop. I agree.
By corn industry, he means a different word.
I don't know. I like the idea of the corn industry.
The cornspiracy.
Yeah. Banal Layman becomes a member. Thank you. Tom and Russell, woke right as a term glows. We already have words to describe the people, these people. This feels like an astroturfed issue pushed to split the movement. Yeah, a little bit.
Correct.
Tom and Russell, contiguous continental USA.
Contiguous? Continental?
Contiguous.
USA?
Contiguous.
Yes.
Yeah, contig. Tom and Russell, people have been made super sensitive to this. It's the fault of the people pushing slop that people have gotten so gushy. Correct. Gun shy.
Yep.
It is their fault, and they will have to suffer the consequences. Paravos Stargard, Dev's Morton Bailey is really tiresome. You don't get to cast aspersions on the right writ large and then parsimoniously splinter off every member of the left to immunize the liberal establishment from responsibility for its words and deeds. Well, Dev gets very specific when it's about small things.
Things he wants to defend.
Pedantry. Ben, how would you explain Chris Chan to an Inquisitor? I would just give him the
Possession.
98-part fucking documentary.
Oh God, no.
You have to watch all of this.
The judge had to watch it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably enjoyed it halfway through.
I don't even think he got like 5 or 6 hours into the documentary.
Tom and Russell, we know the signs. They should avoid them, not whine that people see signs and react to them. Don't tell us that we are overacting when we're throwing the enemy from the gates. Yeah. It is not the company's prerogative or privilege to complain about their consumers not wanting to buy their product.
If your pattern recognition ability is mostly accurate, trust it. It's mostly accurate for a reason.
Massive Dodge 1, go balls out, kiddo. Some guy from Yakuza. Deprived Dolphin, can't wait to PA? Witcher 4. PA. Sujar, people would be more willing to accept girl bosses when they're 1 in 10 rare. But there's so many people can't accept it as it breaks suspension of disbelief. Sarah Connor works because she's a rarity. Yes. You can't have every character be the same character for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Unfriended. Chris is still attractive and hot, but the odd camera angles, motion capture, lighting, and uncanny valley effect make her look off. Also, she's a 1-to-1 actress. The book version of her is worse. It's terrifying. Reverend Norse, Banu Hakim, to be named Clan Assamite, non-Camarilla clan of Diablerists. You spoke of them in your old Clan Tremere video, Ventru, and Dev's wrong. More for Ventru. Fincan, I think we need to be anti-degeneracy and anti-censorship. There will be a time in which a principle will have to bend towards the other. Tremere. Oh, Tremere.
Aren't Tremere's like really weak right now?
Well, I hope they weren't very weak back then.
I'm gonna make you play the second game.
Buckymus. It's never going to come out, so who cares?
Okay.
Besides that, well, that would be in keeping for you. I mean, Zoocosis and then another bad game.
That's
no
fine.
Taste.
I don't mind if I consistently make you play bad games.
No taste. Why hating? The long-term survival of our species is better than their pearl clutching. Onward to Mars. Yeah.
Correct. At a certain point, forced pregnancy is going to be a thing.
Mars Freelander. We need a baby-proof constitution that gives citizens power over the government and laws that result in execution for government or government-adjacent entities that try to subvert those laws.
China has that.
Yeah, China has that. Nolly, Starlight Glimmer. Really, not a single person here voted Tremere. Also, Arch, if you think Vampire's bad and the game is doomed, you should see what those poor Werewolf the Apocalypse guys have had to go through. Yeah. They did have it worse. It's true. Voted Tremere. No, one for Tremere. Most of Tremere was given by a single individual who gave them like $250 bucks, which was Mercer Holt, I believe. Ever in our hearts. Real Zartax. All I want for Christmas is an Anbinar stream. Talker. Well, you will get one. Possibly? What day is it tomorrow? Friday? Yes. Possibly tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 23rd is a Monday. Okay, yes. And then another one on Monday, just so we have time for everyone to get their favorite grills up on the calendar. Secure Starlight Glimmer's position. And will Dick Girl Deathclaw breach $1,000?
I don't know why your fan base likes Futanari that much.
Well, there's 2 Futas on the calendar now. It's Chairman Mao Sakura, who is in first place.
What?
Yep. With 1,146, so she is the chat's favorite. Is the biggest dick girl to have ever dick girled. And then on second place is the Dick Girl Deathclaw. So yeah, my chat's favorite characters is a dick animal and a dick girl. I don't ask any questions about my chat anymore. I just kind of accept that they are the way they are.
The chat is a reflection of the streamer, by the way.
That's not true, Buckymus.
That is 100% true. Your chat
Not
is
true, Buckymus. Look at Gibbs. He wears socks.
Yeah, exactly. His chat is a reflection of himself.
You saying they wear programmer socks?
Yes, some of them do.
Wow.
That was a bad example you chose.
I don't know.
Look at Dev. His fan base is fat and Canadian.
I don't know. Most of Dev's fan base disagrees with Dev at this point, so.
Yeah, fat and Canadian, yeah.
Right. And with that, we are at an end. Thank you very much, chat. Thank you very much for watching. We're probably going to do a lot more of these. But we'll exchange Dev for Sargon in the new year. I'm sure you'll be happier with that. Thursday streams with Sargaruni. I'm sure everyone in chat will be very happy. And until then, chat, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your generous donations, for hanging out with me today. And thank you, Buckymus, for sticking out till the end as well.
You're welcome.
And I will see you all again tomorrow with the first stream of Anbenar as we begin learning Europa Universalis again. And yes, I know, Star Sector. I know, I own it. I just never played it. Besides, it didn't make you pay for it. I mean, you have probably paid a lot for it by this point, but technically I didn't, set a goal for it, so. Plus, I also need to do Sucker for Love, and I need to finish Newt Game, and... Listen, chat, there's a lot. Okay? It's a lot. Good night, chat. Oh, and go watch Lumi. Tell her she has feet. No.
All right.